the time of the year baseball fans live for, a September pennant drive, and it is a player's dream too. But in the American League West right now, the margin for error has disappeared, and tonight the Seattle Mariners hope to take another step toward what would be their third American League West championship. Pressure on the Mariners with a 9-7 afternoon victory over the Angels. What that means is Seattle either defeats the Texas Rangers tonight or they fall to second place for the first time since June 28th. Cleveland has just won. They are, as of this very moment, 1.5 games behind both Seattle and Oakland in the American League wild card picture. So welcome to Wednesday Night Baseball from Safeco Field in Seattle. Dave Barnett, Rick Sutcliffe. This really is what you live for if you're a fan, if you're a player, if you're a manager. You want to be in this situation, but Lou Piniella can't just worry about tonight. He has to worry about what might happen during the weekend, and with that in mind, he's made a pitching change for tonight.
Yeah, he had a tough decision to make. If he went with Jamie Moyer tonight, the veteran would have to come back on 3 days rest. He's going with Freddie Garcia tonight. He's younger, he's stronger. He's also having a terrific month of September. He's 4-1, but the one loss was in his last start to Oakland. The first pitch of the game was 96 miles an hour. Alex Rodriguez immediately said, we're in trouble. He's too pumped up, and sure enough, A-Rod was right. He also made an error in that first inning, and he lost the only game this month for him.
Now, speaking of A-Rod, as his bat goes, pretty much that's how the whole Mariner team goes.
Well, the unfortunate thing for A-Rod, last week he lost his 91-year-old grandmother, and he dedicated the rest of the year to her. Well, A-Rod has not been getting anything to hit all year. Already a career high in base on ball, but because of that dedication, he did not want to walk. He wanted to do something with the bat to show his grandmother and everybody in his family that he was doing it for her. Well, he started expanding the zone, and in his own words, he put himself in a slump. He said last night the triple in the 7th inning got him back on track. He's looking forward to finishing the year hot.
Second game of this 3-game Seattle-Texas series. Johnny Oates finishing up a very forgettable year, and for the only Ranger manager ever to steer the franchise into the postseason, something he did not see coming. West championships in '96 and each of the last 2 years, but their last place this year, and they are banged up, and so you won't see that many familiar names in this lineup tonight. Frank Catalanato leads off at second. Royce Clayton followed by Rafael Palmeiro, having a hot September. And he just a couple of days ago joined the 400 career home run club. One shining bright spot in this forgettable season. Chad Curtis batting cleanup. Not what they acquired him to do. Ricky LeDay, the former Indian and Yankee, followed by former Ranger, and just as of a few weeks ago, called back up Ruben Sierra. He's the DH. Mike Lamb, the rookie, at third. Randy Knorr catches tonight at Scarborough Green. Bats ninth and plays center field. And Freddie Garcia takes an 8-5 record, a 3.95 ERA onto the mound tonight for Seattle.
Yeah, you remember him last year, a 17-game winner for the Seattle Mariners. In fact, the Mariner rotation this year is the only rotation that has 3 pitchers that received Cy Young Award votes last year. Aaron Seeley, who threw the shutout last night, received those votes as a member of the Texas Rangers. Also Freddie Garcia, and also tomorrow night starter Jamie Moyer.
So Garcia ready to go to work. Frank Catalanato steps in, and he looks at a strike. Jeff Kellogg is the umpire behind the plate. It was supposed to have been Eric Cooper, but he was felled just before the game by the stomach flu, and so this is a 3-man umpiring crew tonight. Out of play, 0-2 to Catalanato. So you got Kellogg. Mike Riley is at first. Laz Diaz is at third. And Rick, how do they handle second?
Well, it's kind of like they do at the minor league level, where they don't have the full crew with 4 umpires. There's a rotation system depending on where the ball's hit and where the base runner is.
Another pop-up off the bat of Catalanato. Like most of the Rangers, slumping. 3 for his last 17. And over a 37-game period, just 206. His first half was spectacular, mostly in spot duty. Luis Alicea missing another game with a strained left calf. Grounder up the middle, and a leadoff single to center by Frank Catalanato. Defensively, the Seattle team, one of the top 3 in the American League.
Well, the reason we're highlighting Alex Rodriguez defensively is because of the terrific year that he's having. Only 9 errors on the year. And when you consider all of the offensive things that he has done, the slugging percentage, the on-base percentage, the reason he's being considered for the MVP award, I think he might have the edge right now because of the difficulty in the position he plays defensively.
Having one of the best defensive years of any shortstop in history. Squaring to bunt is Royce Clayton, and taking ball 1.
About that American League MVP, Frank Thomas, Carlos Delgado, Manny Ramirez getting in there now. And don't forget Jason Giambi and what he has done for the Oakland A's.
May come down to who wins this division. Bolsters A-Rod's case if Seattle wins it. Catalanato off with the pitch. It is bounced into the hole, and only one play for Rodriguez. Scooped by Olerud. But advancing to second base, Catalanato.
2 of the best defensive first basemen in the game today. You can't forget about J.T. Snow with the Giants, Mark Grace over in the National League, but in the American League, Rafael Palmeiro and John Olerud. A-Rod off balance, a long throw, a quick throw, knows that if he thinks down, Olerud can help him. If he overthrows him, there's nothing John can do. But look at this. I mean, that's just a common occurrence here in Seattle.
So the runner in scoring position for easily the biggest threat in the Texas lineup. Palmeiro at .292 for the year. His next homer will be his 40th, and 118 RBIs, tied for 6th in homers, tied for 8th in runs batted in.
Why even waste energy trying to pitch around this guy? Just stand up, intentionally put him on.
Inside part of the plate, 1-1. Palmeiro with his best all-around year last year, and it had him in the conversation for AL MVP. Saturday, the 32nd in history with 400 homers. The difference between Palmeiro's 99 and 2000 really tells the story for Texas. Last year you had a healthy Pudge Rodriguez, Juan Gonzalez around, and Todd Zeile. He was just one of a number of big sticks that Johnny Oates could go to. At this point, with the injuries and the trades, he's pretty much the only big stick.
I think that's why Dan Wilson went out there to check with young Freddie Garcia. Wait a minute, we're going to pitch around him. What are you doing throwing that changeup down the middle?
Outside corner, and he tried to pull it. Grounds it to his former teammate Mark McLemore. Out number 2 as Catalanato takes 3rd.
You got to give the veteran catcher Dan Wilson a little assist for this out. Look at the location on the changeup. You can throw the changeup if you want, but don't throw it in the strike zone. Palmeiro getting a little bit over aggressive there. Expand the zone. Look at him. He almost stepped on home plate just trying to reach that off-speed pitch. If you want to swing at that, that's fine. You can let Rafael Palmeiro get himself out, but you cannot let that guy beat you when you look at the rest of this lineup.
It sounds funny to say the cleanup hitter Chad Curtis steps in. This was not the job they had in mind when they got him to be the 4th outfielder.
This was supposed to be Pudge Rodriguez, another guy that certainly would have been an MVP candidate. He won it last year in the American League.
Off speed, drops right into the zone, and it's 1-1. Texas has produced, in fact, 3 of the last 4 American League MVPs. Gonzalez twice. Rodriguez last year. Gonzalez traded. Rodriguez has missed the last half of the season with a fractured thumb. That one just missing 2-1.
Both of these organizations headlines over the winter with big trades. Juan Gonzalez going from Texas to Detroit. And of course, Ken Griffey Jr. from right here in Seattle to Cincinnati.
And only one team has not missed a beat. Broken bat, slow roller. David Bell has a hard time getting it out of his glove. but in plenty of time to get Curtis, and they waste the leadoff hit by Catalanotto. We'll see A-Rod and the Mariners when we come back. Absolutely perfect weather in Seattle. 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. No need for that retractable roof. And Lou Piniella, who has guided 3 previous teams to first place in the month of September and brought all 3 home with division titles. In fact, with Cincinnati in '90, it was a world title. 95 and 97 West Division flags for the Mariners. He starts with Ricky Henderson, 1 for his last 21. And then Mike Cameron, A-Rod, Edgar Martinez, John Olerud bats 5th, Jay Buhner in right, David Bell at 3rd tonight, Dan Wilson catching, hitting 8th, and Mark McLemore is batting 9th. And on the hill is 24-year-old left-hander Doug Davis.
10th round draft pick for Texas back in 1996. This kid has dominated at the minor league level. He is also dominating the American League here in the month of September. 2-0 with a fine 3.42 ERA. Last loss was on August 30th to Cleveland. So he has also been pitching very well for a banged up Texas Ranger ball club.
Ricky Henderson looks at a ball. Henderson, with that deep slump, has seen his average drop all the way down to 236. When he does get on, still a stolen base threat. 30 steals on the year. He had an 0 for 18 in with a 3rd inning single last night in a 5-0 Seattle win on a complete game 6 hitter by former Ranger Aaron Seeley. Henderson, a weak roller, handled by Clayton on the way in, and he bounces one to Palmeiro for the first out. Now Texas, quite the opposite of Seattle defensively. They have given up the most unearned runs in baseball.
Not really anywhere to go to highlight anybody on that defense. You start with the veteran Royce Clayton at shortstop. And of course, as we've seen tonight already here in the first inning, Rafael Palmeiro making a nice scoop on that last throw, and John Olerud pulling 2 throws out of the dirt in the top of the first inning.
Mike Cameron batting 2nd at 262. 18 home runs, 74 driven in, and he shows bunt and takes a ball.
When you talk about all those errors for the Texas Rangers, don't be giving that blame to Rafael Palmeiro. He's just committed 4 this year. Possibly going to pick up another Gold Glove to put on his mantle when the season's over.
1-1. Palmeiro won it last year in a bit of controversy because he didn't play that much first base. A lot of people said he got it on reputation.
28 games. I was curious how many votes Jeff King got last year. He played 23 games for the Kansas City Royals before he retired.
Shot through the right side to base hit. A 1-out single in the first by Cameron. And let's check into the studio with Bill Pito.
Dave, thank you. The Indians an easy win tonight at home against Minnesota. Jim Thome had his 34th home run of the year. The home run here in the 5th. The Indians scored 5 in the 4th. They win at 8-2. Now just a game and a half back on the wild card behind Seattle and Oakland.
3-team race going on in the American League.
Yeah, but you think about Seattle just winning 6 of their last 10 decisions. And you look at Oakland, they've won 19 of their last 24. Seattle, even with the 3 losses to Oakland when they came to town, have still won 10 of their last 13. Maybe a little too late for Cleveland.
Rodriguez takes strike 1. A-Rod in that Oakland series over the weekend just 1 for 16. Got a hit last night. So 2 for his last 19, and the average has dropped down to 316. Seattle, though, has been a team that has not been near the top offensively. It's a real change when you consider what they used to do in the Kingdome. But in the first 3 innings is when they're right at the top of Major League Baseball. They will get you with the early offense. Check a Cameron, who has stolen 22 bases this year, so he's a threat. And Rodriguez definitely an MVP candidate.
Oh, when you think about the position that he plays and what he brings to the ball club defensively, he's not a first baseman. He's not a designated hitter. He's an everyday shortstop that plays in what they consider the anti-Coors baseball field. This is a big, big ballpark. It's built for pitching and defense, and that's exactly what you get nowadays when you face the Seattle Mariners. It's not the King Dome and that slow pitch softball they used to play over there anymore.
Another check of Cameron. Davis ahead of Rodriguez 1-2.
In fact, the Mariners 246 as a team here at Safeco. They hit just under 290 as a team on the road. Joe Oliver, catcher from time to time, is the only guy that has a higher average at home than on the road for Seattle.
Really, the experience of Rodriguez parallels the team. He's 275 here. He is 355. Third in the American League in road batting average. Seattle worst away and best at home. Edgar Martinez on deck. And A-Rod just staying alive off of the shoulder of Randy Knorr.
Last pitch really indicates what has happened to A-Rod the last month. We mentioned earlier his grandmother passed away. He wants to do something to dedicate the rest of the year to her. That was ball 3. He has been taking those pitches all year long. Career high 96 walks already. But he's just trying to do too much right now. He knows that this is his team. Ken Griffey Jr. is in Cincinnati. The Seattle Mariners are carried by Alex Rodriguez. Well, to carry a ball club offensively, you have to get pitches to do so. And for the most part, they have just pitched around him this year.
That one comes in a little low, runs the count full.
It just gets so frustrating when you want to do something special for someone like his grandmother and how close they were, when your box score the next day reads 0 for 1 with 3 walks. That's just not what A-Rod's wanting to do.
Cameron off with the pitch. It is ball 4. And Rodriguez works his career high 97th walk.
Take a look at the sequence here from Doug Davis to A-Rod. All right, you're going to take a look and see what happens with the first pitch strike. Now the fastball up. All right, there's another one in there. Okay, change up, down and away. Fastball up and in, which would have been ball 3. There is ball 3, and here's ball 4. But look at A-Rod. That was almost a pitch out, and yet already had started his swing. He's just over anxious right now.
Trouble for Doug Davis in the first. 2 on with 1 out, and Edgar Martinez steps in and looks at a strike. Average 319, also his career average, which is the highest in Mariner club history. 10th in homers and 3rd in the majors with those 140 RBIs, also an all-time record for a player age 37. Previously held by Babe Ruth. Skies this one to short right. And Ricky Leday has it for out number 2. A little bluff at second by Cameron. Will stay put. They retire Martinez, and it is up to John Olerud to try and get Seattle the first inning lead.
Oh, you wonder, why did A-Rod take a fastball right down the middle for a first pitch strike? What was Edgar doing the same thing? Well, they've only seen Doug Davis twice this year, and in both of those outings it has been as a reliever. This is his first start against the Seattle Mariners, and everybody in the lineup, particularly the first time around, wanting to get a look at as many pitches as they can. To Davis's credit, he's getting ahead early.
Now lefty versus lefty. Oddly, left-handers hit Davis much better than right-handers. 325 for lefties.
Well, his best pitch is that cut fastball that he started Olerud off with. It's going to run in onto the hands, or the small part of the bat, of the right-handed hitter. It's just the opposite to a left-hand hitter. That cutter runs to the barrel of the bat, and when he leaves it over the plate, left-handers can do some damage with it.
Olerud starts tonight at 285. 13 homers, 97 driven in.
That's the pitch right there that will make that cutter more effective to a left-handed hitter. but Davis not able to locate it on that inside corner. You've got to keep them honest. Otherwise, they'll dive out over the outer half and just wear you out.
Tried to come in at the knees and misses. 3-1.
See, even though that off-speed pitch was close to the zone, Olerud never even was tempted by it because he doesn't have to start his swing on anything on the inner half until Davis proves that he has command of that part of the plate.
Back over the screen, count full. So with Cameron at second, Rodriguez at first. They're going to be off with the pitch at 3-2. If he loses him, Jay Buhner is waiting. Enjoying a return to form here in 2000. There go the runners, and the 3-2 pitch is bounced right to Palmeiro. Handles the little in-between hop, and Davis works out of first inning trouble. 0-0 in Safeco Field. Guys that have got to play a big part as Seattle wins this division. Aaron Seeley, shutout winner last night. Jamie Moyer, who goes tomorrow afternoon. And ball one to Ricky Leday, who leads off the Rangers second. Ruben Sierra next, will be followed by Mike Lamb. Freddie Garcia allowed a leadoff single in the first to Frank Catalanato, and then retired Clayton Palmeiro and Curtis, all on ground balls. Ricky Leday with his third team this season. Started out with the Yankees. Traded to Cleveland in June for David Justice. And then just before the deadline came to Texas in the David Segui trade. And he works a 4-pitch walk to lead off the second. So Garcia, each of the first 2 innings, puts the lead man on.
When you mention the names that you did that Ricky Leday was traded for, you realize there's a lot of people that still have a lot of high expectations for him. A young hitter that has just never gotten on track. Joe Torre said that, you know, potentially, yeah, he could be a 300 hitter, but he just gives away at bats. He gives away games, and at times he'll give away a week's worth of at bats.
Here's a sight that still takes getting used to. Ruben Sierra in a Ranger uniform again. Made the AAA All-Star team at Oklahoma. He was released by the Indians in camp late March. The Rangers thought about it, decided to take a flyer on him, put him at AAA, see what, if anything, he still had left. And at age 34, he's got a little left. Had a good year with Oklahoma, hit .326, 18 home runs. And shot the other direction is in there for a base hit. Little dumper over shortstop is the second hit tonight by the Rangers, and they've got runners first and second, nobody out in the second.
Well, when you talk about people that you're not going to let beat you, Ruben Sierra used to be one of those guys. I don't know where he's been the last couple of years. He's bounced around, but he proved that he still has the desire to play baseball by spending all of this year at the minor league level. And I found it ironic, Dave, you and I in the clubhouse before the game, all of the players talking about how he has to be back next year. He's such a positive influence in the clubhouse for these young players.
That is a 180-degree turnaround for Ruben, and to his credit. You know, 10 years ago, he was the future of the franchise. He made the All-Star team 3 years, was second in the MVP voting to Robin Yount in '89. Things went sour. He bounced around baseball. Most people felt he got too muscle bound. That was the start of the descent on the field and off the field, and demanded to be catered to like a superstar, and has figured out the way to stay in the game. Begins with being a guy that people want to see in the clubhouse. And enough game to get a shot here in September. Mike Lamb, the rookie third baseman. The 1-1 pitch. Back to the screen and 1-2.
You got to feel a little bit sorry for Mike Lamb. First of all, rushed to the big leagues this year. Great year last year in AA. Could have used the experience in AAA this year, but because of Todd Zeile taking off and going to the New York Mets, they needed a third baseman. And Lamb was the guy that they chose to play that position. Had a great first half of the year. But now come the month of September, when as a minor league player, you never play in September. You're home now. Your season's over. the fatigue and the wear and tear starting to get to him.
Just inside 2-2, and the real evidence of what you're talking about is a quarter of the season now. 43 games, he is just barely hovering over 200, and he was a steady 300 straight through the first half of the season.
The errors are starting to mount up for him. Just a lot of things that it's just hard to keep that adrenaline and that focus going that long when you've never done it before.
Garcia off the rubber. Take a look at Wilson. This is already the third conference between Wilson and Garcia, and A-Rod is going to join it, and Ricky Henderson's going to take a load off for a second or two.
Well, and you look at who's doing the talking there. It's A-Rod. All right, you want to throw this, he wants you to throw that. All right, this is what you're going to throw. Now, whether you get it in the right location or not, that's up to you. That's the leadership that we've talked about, that A-Rod has just taken over here in Seattle. This is his ball club.
So armed with that input, he strikes out Lamb on a pitch out of the zone. First strikeout for Garcia.
His best pitch, even though he throws the fastball 95, 96 miles an hour, is this right here. That good changeup. Look at the movement. Look at Lamb well out in front. And as always, Dan Wilson in perfect position to keep that ball in the dirt from getting past him.
What did A-Rod call that pitch? Dead fish?
That's the dead fish.
Just kind of flops its way up there. And he got Lamb to bite on it. So now the journeyman catcher Randy Nord, hitting at .263 since his call up from Oklahoma September 5th. Very definition of journeyman catcher. He started with the Pirates organization in the spring. They started him off in Nashville, where he was released May 8th. Oklahoma picked him up 3 days later. He has spent time with the Blue Jays the first half of the 90s. A couple of years with Houston. Briefly Florida. And now with Pudge Rodriguez out for the last couple of months, he is sharing the catching duties with B.J. Wasgus in Texas. Rangers have grounded into more double plays than anybody. 2-1 to Nord. 159 is also a club record for grounding into 2.
Amazing to think that Ivan Rodriguez not catching for the Texas Rangers since 1996. He's averaged 148 games per year.
Just missing 3-1. Really irreplaceable, not just in the field, where he has been a clear standard setter defensively for a number of years, but the last couple of years he's been right there with Mike Piazza offensively as a catcher. Put the two together, he was the MVP of the league last year. The 3-1 pitch is bounced on the left side. Bell can't come up with it cleanly, and the long throw will retire the slow running Nord, but no double play. Leday on to third. Sierra is on down at second. Well, we're heading toward Sunday, and that is the final scheduled day of the regular season. We'll have final day coverage on ESPN2 beginning at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Any game that has a bearing, these are some of the possible matchups that we might be able to show you. Any game that has a bearing on any of the decisions that have yet to be made in the postseason picture. And a real good chance that this AL West race is going to come down, maybe even to Monday or beyond. Scarborough Green looks at a strike. Oakland has a makeup game Monday at Tampa Bay. Seattle has won the coin flip. If there's to be a one-game playoff with the A's, it'll be right here at Safeco Field Tuesday. So Green a chance to give the Rangers a second inning lead. They are 0 for 4 so far tonight with runners in scoring position. Scarborough a .214 average, has driven in 6 runs. hard about that one. Laid off.
And the appeal goes to the second base umpire right out there in the middle because of, as you said earlier, Eric Cooper scheduled to be the home plate umpire, not able to go. So instead of checking down the third base line, a little different angle allows Diaz in a position where he has a lot of things to consider right now. Check swings, a runner behind him.
Shot left field in front of Henderson. Base hit. The Rangers get the first run of the game. Sierra held at third by Jerry Narron. Ricky Leday comes home on Scarborough Green's 7th run batted in, and it's 1-0.
Well, the percentage is incredible on how many times you walk the leadoff hitter of an inning and he comes around to score. But the fact that you let a number 9 hitter with 2 outs drive in that run, almost inexcusable when you think about this is the number 1 guy. This is the guy you want on the mound. You don't give Green a pitch like that to hit in that situation. He's got too many holes, up and in, down and away. But I'll promise you one thing, there's a lot of Oakland A's that are watching this game tonight that are big Scarborough Green fans.
Just became Scarborough Green fans. Bounce foul by Catalanotto.
Green was 0 for 13 in his career against Seattle. All of that's happened this year prior to that 2-out base hit.
Green known mainly for his speed. Uses it in the outfield, uses it on the bases to earlier this year steal home. He stole home May 24th. Catalanotto wants another weapon.
Royce Clayton, the shortstop for Texas, also a postseason broadcaster for ESPN, is telling me that Scarborough Green's the fastest guy in the game in his opinion. Just world-class speed. He's not a base stealer yet, though. Has not figured out technique and what he needs to do to steal more bases. I can't imagine Johnny Oates would have him off and running in this situation anyway. Catalanotto has been terrific all year for Texas, hitting .344 in situations like this with runners in scoring position.
Much of the year, Catalanotto flirted with .400. Brown trying to help Garcia work through the rest of the second with no further damage. And they want the punch out right here. It's hit sharply, good glove by McLemore. But the Rangers get a run on the 2-out RBI by Green. We head to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Texas. Rangers break on top 1-0. We move to the Seattle half of the second, and it's Buhner, Bell, and Wilson. Doug Davis allowed a Mike Cameron single and A-Rod walk in the first, but got Edgar Martinez to fly out and John Olerud to bounce unassisted to Palmeiro. Jay Buhner back healthy. The numbers show the return to production for one of the top home run hitters over the last decade or so in the American League. 25 home runs, 81 batted in. Almost equal of the last 2 years combined for Buhner.
And Jay gives all the credit to his manager Lou Piniella and also the trainers for coming up with a program to keep him healthy. He said, I had to face the facts. I'm not an everyday player anymore. I've got to be rested. And it's been their plan that has kept him rested and healthy for the most part all year.
Davis ahead 0-2, and he got him to chase that one up around the chin. First strikeout for Doug Davis.
You know, I see a little sense of just overreacting and anxious on the part of everybody on Seattle right now. A-Rod trying to swing at pitches out of the zone. Jay Buhner doing the same thing there. John Olerud a little bit over aggressive in his at bat.
Now the third baseman David Bell. Davis starts ahead of him.
Even though Seattle has had the lead for the most part in the AL West, they know who's facing them tomorrow. Rick Helling, veteran pitcher for Texas. Helling 2-0 this year against Seattle with an ERA of 1.29. And then they got to go to Anaheim. They've been a better offensive team on the road, but they also know the Anaheim Angels can score some runs as well. That's not a given that they're going to be able to go down there and sweep that series.
1-1 pitch to Bell, back off the screen.
When you look at the lineup that Texas puts out there tonight and also in their game tomorrow, if Seattle's not able to sweep this series, I think they're in a lot of trouble, because Texas goes from here to Oakland.
Rangers are 7-2 against Oakland this year. It is not going to be easy for whoever comes out with the West flag. Boyer and Rick Helling tomorrow.
Jamie Moore has also pitched well in the month of September, which Seattle needed. High ball foul down the first base line. Moyer 2-2 in September, 4 starts with an ERA of 3.37. Didn't seem real happy about the fact that he wasn't pitching tonight. Talked to him before the game. He said he found out when he was running on Monday out in the outfield from the pitching coach Brian Price. It was Lou Pinella's decision.
Liner, and even the speedy Green can't come up with it. It's in for a 1-out. David Bell, base hit.
Bell will gladly take this base hit, but it was because of the lack of jump from the center fielder for Texas that the ball dropped. He gets a decent read on it with his speed. He gets to it easily. But look at him. He was still standing. Now he starts to go, and that's just simply too late. Probably playing a little bit too deep to begin with. But that's what you're going to get with the ball club that Johnny Oates has on the field right now. A lot of inexperience all around.
Well aboard, Dan Wilson, the catcher.
Right when the Oakland A's watching this game were really excited about Scarborough Green, now they're mad at him.
Not quite as heroic in their eyes all of a sudden. Green in center, where the Rangers thought they had the Rookie of the Year, and Ruben Mateo, before he broke a leg in June, and that really is where the Rangers' descent began. Ball was going on that one. Ball and a strike to Wilson.
And that takes Lou Piniella back to his National League managing days with the Cincinnati Reds. That hit and run there. You've got a guy at home plate that's struggling. Dan Wilson, just .233 on the year, only 27 RBIs. Create some holes for him. You create some movement with the runner. Second baseman moves. You give Dan Wilson a clear shot at playing pepper with the right fielder. Well, you can see him walking around, pacing a little bit there, like, come on, Dan, I gave you the shot. What are you swinging too hard? You don't have to hit it that hard.
Ball 2-1. It's a park where Piniella really could almost treat it as if he's back in the National League. This park favors pitchers more than Safeco.
We were saying the baseballs they use here at Safeco have parachutes in them. They take off, they get out into the gap, and poof, parachute comes out, and they just settle into somebody's glove normally.
If you're building a team in this home run crazy era, don't you want a park like this where, you know, at least half the time you're not probably going to get beaten by cheap homers?
I do.
Another base hit. Little bloop, right center field. Taking third is Bell without a throw. Leday came up thinking about trying to gun him down at third. First and third, 1-out Seattle.
You mentioned it, Dave. Speaking of cheap, that has been all 3 hits tonight for the Seattle Mariners. Little cutter on the hands. Wilson strong enough to fight it off, as did David Bell, who got the base hit before him. And now they're in business now. And they've also got one of the most patient hitters in baseball today at home plate in Mark McLemore.
And here he is at 238. Big contributor to the 3 Ranger Division championships. But not brought back after last year when he hit 274. He has dropped, as you see, down to 238. But that's not what the Mariners talk about when they discuss the contributions of Mark McLemore this year.
Talk about guys that can help young players. You're looking at him right there. He's just one of those guys that finds a way to get the job done.
Most guys do in the middle of the order, and McLemore tries to pick him up at the back end. Up the middle. Oh, Davis. Catalinato has to turn and come up with it too late to make a play on McLemore. Bell comes home, and it's 1-1.
McLemore with just enough power to keep you honest, just enough speed, as he shows here, to beat out this ground ball. Even though Frank Catalinato came up with it, McLemore's speed kept him from getting the out. I like what Doug Davis does there, though. Look at him. He doesn't try to get out of the way of it. He tries to knock it down. A little kick save there on his part. It didn't do him any good on that particular play. And Johnny Oates just has to be looking at Mark McLemore thinking, you know what, that might be the one we shouldn't have let go.
He has, in fact, said basically in so many words that of all the people that they lost, they miss McLemore the most. Well, it was do not have a clubhouse presence to replace him.
It was Johnny Oates that gave Mark McLemore the chance to get back to the big league level as an everyday player in '92 with the Baltimore Orioles. Along with Davey Lopes, who was the first base coach there, they converted the infielder McLemore to an outfielder. Became a terrific outfielder. Also produced at the plate. His versatility, his speed, always something a competitive team looking for.
2 on, 1 out, and 2-0 to Ricky Henderson back to the top of the order. Henderson grounded to short in the first. Still 3 walks away from tying Babe Ruth's all-time record. 2062 is the mark, and he's still sitting at 2059. 1 pitch away from 2060.
How low do you think Ricky's going to get in this crouch before this pitch here? Look at that.
Only 3 to walk 2,000 in Major League history. And he'll do his Eddie Goodell imitation on this 3-0.
That's just incredible, the names that are mentioned now with Ricky Henderson. Earlier this year, he passed Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron on the same day, September 15th, in runs scored. And he's after the Babe again.
He's now 2 away from the record. More importantly, they are loaded up with 1 out, and Dick Bosman, the Ranger pitching coach, is out.
Well, not only the first month of September that Doug Davis has pitched in, we talked about that being the same with Mike Lamb. So Dick Bosman's got to go out there, not only talk to him about, all right, stay within yourself, but he's got to talk to him about this crowd and this playoff atmosphere. There's a lot of pressure on Davis right now. He realized that the Oakland A's, the Cleveland Indians are pulling for him to have a good performance. Dick Bosman out there now to try to come up with something that can get a ground ball off the bat of Mike Cameron and possibly a double play to keep the score tied.
Cameron singled in the first, and he's got him set up here in the second. Dan Wilson, after a base hit, has made it to third. McLemore likewise. The infield hit now at second base after the walk to Ricky Henderson. Chance to break open to a nice, comfortable early lead here. If Cameron can come through, he does have a grand slam to his credit. 6th year in the majors. 27-year-old out of LaGrange, Georgia, goes right after the first offering from Davis and swings through it.
Well, that's the best fastball of the night for Doug Davis, right at 90 miles an hour. There's Gerald Perry, the new hitting instructor for the Seattle Mariners this year. What a job he has done with young Mike Cameron. Had Mike Cameron sit down and talk with Ricky Henderson about how to steal a base, how to get a jump, how to work the pitcher. He also had him talk with Alex Rodriguez. How do you hit home runs? What do you look for? What are the tendencies that you look for in a pitcher? How do you set a pitcher up? Well, Gerald Perry created all of those conversations, and because of it, Cameron on the verge of breaking through with some big years.
This one is popped down the right field line, and it is slicing out of play.
Quietly, Mike Cameron has driven in 74 runs. Last year, just 66. He scored 90 runs. And this is a guy that has been up and down in the lineup. But that, to me, along with the knowledge of the game and the fundamentals, is what makes Gerald Perry such a terrific hitting instructor. He was a leader as a player. He's a leader as a coach. But he's a communicator, more importantly. Other than him telling Cameron what to do, get A-Rod, get Ricky to back up what you're saying.
The 1-2 pitch, just about the same spot. This will also drift back out of play, although Palmeiro's over for a look. Really something for a coach not to feel that he has to do all the instructing. To spark a kind of internal discussion.
Well, you know that he had conversations with A-Rod and Ricky before, saying, hey, this is what I want you to say to the young man. This is what he needs to know. If you back me up, we've got a chance to come up with someone special. And they think they've done that in Mike Cameron.
No matter what sport you're talking about, every coach, every manager wants leadership from within. This is a drive to the left field gap. Green and Curtis are there, and Curtis comes up with the catch. But Wilson comes home on the sac fly and gives the Mariners a 2-1 lead. That was one of those parachute balls. Looked like it was going to carry to the Eddie Bauer sign.
It's a grand slam, and everybody's on their feet at the Kingdome. But it's just a sac fly here in Seattle. So when you think about the MVP numbers and you think about the man at home plate, A-Rod, you think about what Edgar Martinez has done offensively this year with those 140 RBIs. Well, consider the park they've done it in as well.
2-1 Mariners up and into A-Rod, who walked in the first. So they come back, answer the Ranger run in the top half of the inning with 2 of their own. Martinez on deck with 2 on and 2 outs. I thought that was a bit high. Disagreeing, Jeff Kellogg says it's 1-1. In that 1-for-16 Oakland series, says first game, give them credit, they threw me some nasty stuff. After that, I got myself out. I got to become more patient. It goes for Olerud, myself, Edgar. We're the guys that have to carry the team on our shoulders. We cannot concern ourselves with anything but executing fundamentals. Swings at that one up out of the zone. 2-2. Still a little jumpy, a little anxious.
It's so easy to say and do before the game. So hard to do once the game starts. You want to hit a 3-run homer right here. You want to blow this game out. You want to take the momentum and the energy out of this young Texas Ranger ball club. You want to give that cushion to the starting pitcher there, Freddie Garcia.
The 2-2 swung on and missed, and Davis prevents any further damage. A huge strikeout, the second of the inning, but he gives up 2 runs, and the Mariners have the lead. Played. All indications are that Oakland will have to make up that game with Tampa Bay if they're either a half game ahead of Seattle or a half game behind Seattle. They're half behind, and they do have to play Monday and win. The 1-game playoff for the West would be here Tuesday.
The great part about it is that nobody's giving away the AL West. I mean, Oakland is just flat coming to get it.
And Garcia thought he had the outside corner, but ball 4 to Chad Curtis with 2 outs in the third.
Well, he thought he had the first strike on the second pitch in that at bat with a curveball to Curtis. But when he reacted the way he did, all he did was make the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg, mad. The curveball was close, but it was called a ball. Well, forget about it. Instead, Garcia kind of looked at him. He got a little slow getting back up to throw the next pitch. And when you do that to an umpire, they're going to start squeezing you.
Ricky Leday, the other Ranger to work Garcia for a walk tonight, and he scored the only Ranger run on the 2-out hit by Green in the second. Runner going. Curtis draws a late high throw from Wilson that is in there with a stolen base. His third steal of the year. He's been caught 3 times, and Wilson probably not expecting him to go here.
Well, I think he stole this on the middle infielders, Mark McLemore and Alex Rodriguez. It was a delay steal on the part of Curtis, and it didn't look like anybody was there in time to take the throw. So Wilson kind of hesitated a little bit. When he did that, it was too late.
He's in scoring position, and Leday sends one into right center field for a base hit. And with that move by Curtis to steal second, he's in position to come home and tie the game at 2.
Take a look at this stolen base and what put Curtis in. Look at the delay steal there. You could see him hopping. With him taking those 2 little crow hops right there, both Mark McLemore and Alex Rodriguez took a look at him and they said, okay, he's not going to begin with. And immediately their focus goes back to the hitter and the pitch going to home plate. Really a good job deceiving the middle infielders on the part of Chad Curtis. Watch him right here. Watch his first couple of steps. Okay, look at it. Here comes the pitch. He's not going. All right, now they start looking at home plate. Now he is going. Look at Wilson get up late. Wilson didn't have anybody to throw to. He took a little bit off the throw, and because of that, the runner got into scoring position, and with the base hit, we're back to where we started with the tie game.
Boy, if little plays like that are pennants decided this late in the season. Every run, such a big part of the story. So 2-2, and here's Sierra. Looped one to short left for a base hit his first time up.
Now, but Garcia's bringing this all upon himself. Both of the runs that have scored have gotten on base because of the base on ball. Both of them have also scored with a base hit with 2 outs.
Curtis like the captain ate the canary. With the smile in the dugout. Yeah, that's become accustomed to September and October baseball for that matter. And were the Yankees world champions last year. Sierra another shot the opposite direction, sends Henderson back onto the track, and he has it for the 3rd out, but not before the Rangers tie it on a 2-out walk, a stolen base, and an RBI by Leday. 2-2. Edgar Martinez leads off the 3rd. Bottom of the 3rd, 2-2, and Edgar Martinez leads off against Doug Davis. Flying to right his first time, then will be Olerud and Buhner. Edgar at 319. We'll get something going in the bottom half of the 3rd after the Rangers were able to tie it in their half. And tonight, Martinez breaks a tie that he set last night with Ken Griffey Jr. for most games in a Mariner uniform. This is 1,536. One of a slew of club records held by Martinez.
He just makes hitting look so easy. And we all know that it's not. But this guy just has a way of making it seem that way. I mean, hitting so hard, I mean, it's the reason that my dad, Dave, I'm sure your dad, decided that the heck with this baseball, I'm going to go out and buy me a set of golf clubs. This is tough to do.
I was wrong about that. That looked easy, too. Excuse me, foul ball. Still 2-2.
So you put them in the closet with your old bats and gloves.
Look at that. Best hitter in the American League since '95. 32 over that span. Career .319, best hitter Seattle history. Davis gets him on the slow breaking ball. His third strikeout.
Well, he got him, but how did he get him? He got him a lot of the same way that he got Alex Rodriguez back in the bottom half of the last inning, by expanding the zone. The heart of the order for Seattle just trying to do too much right now. And it seems like the scouting report the Texas Rangers got from the Oakland series is the same thing. They'll help you if you let them.
Now Davis goes to work on Olerud.
4 of the 5 runs last night in the 5-0 win were scored by the bottom of the lineup, the 8 and 9 hitter. Well, both of the runs tonight scored by the bottom of the lineup, the 7th and 8th hitter for Seattle.
Doug Davis in the minors, 33 and 16 with an ERA of 2.82 through last year. So the promise he showed at Tulsa and Oklahoma, earning him a spot in the rotation, which, like the lineup in the field for Texas, looks nothing like what they thought it would at the beginning of the year. Those last 4 starts, and Ryan Glenn, the other rookie, getting a spot in the rotation here in the second half, and Olerud strikes out way out ahead of that breaking ball.
Davis really hasn't been a strikeout pitcher at the big league level yet, but he always was at the minor league level. Back in '98, when he was 11 and 7, he led the Florida State League in A-ball in strikeouts. Take a look at the last pitch, expanding the zone once again to Olerud. And then last year, combined AA and AAA, he was 11 and 4, led the minor league system for Texas in strikeouts, and was named the Texas Nolan Ryan minor league pitcher of the year. You know, what an honor that would be. I mean, just to have your name mentioned with Nolan. 3 Ks in a row for Doug Davis. When you look at it, who was it? Alex Rodriguez, Edgar Martinez, and John Olerud. Well, you see why they're so high on this kid.
And you got Buhner to start the last inning.
Why they feel like he's definitely going to be a part of their rotation next year.
Johnny Oates lost Aaron Seeley. The Rangers wanted to bring him back. He elected to come to his home state of Washington. Won 19 and 18 for Oates the last 2 years, and as of last night, 17 here in Seattle. So Rick Helling, Kenny Rogers at the top of the Ranger rotation. And the way Davis has gone here in the second half of the season, pencil him on somewhere in the middle, barring a major trade or signing next year. He strikes out the side in the 3rd. Buhner down for the 2nd time on strikes. 2-2, all even through 3 in Seattle. The bottom 3rd of the Mariners order, the bottom 3rd for the Rangers here in the top of the 4th. Lamb, Noor, and Green in a 2-2 game. Mike Lamb struck out his first time up. Freddie Garcia touched for a run in the 2nd, gave up another one to tie it up in the 3rd. A ball and a strike to Lamb. Garcia, not yet 24, will celebrate his birthday October 6th. Already being talked about even on a rotation with Seeley and Jamie Moyer as the ace of the staff, based on his terrific month of September, last Friday notwithstanding. They gave up 5 in the first to the A's.
That's one thing organizations look for in a young kid. How do they finish? It's not always how you start, but how do you finish? Well, who has what left in their gas tank at the end of the year? Garcia was strong last year, finishing 6-1 in his last 9 starts.
2-2 pitch. Lamb reaches out and singles in front of Ricky Henderson. So the Rangers doing a pretty good job going the other way with Garcia's outside deliveries. Let's check in quickly with Bill Pito in the studio.
All right, Dave, thanks. Giants and the Dodgers. Dodgers eliminated from the postseason because the Mets won today. They beat the Braves. That means the Giants come in a half game behind Atlanta in the record for the race for the best record in the league. And here it's Doug Mirabelli, bases loaded. clears them. Giants now at 4-zip. St. Louis a game and a half behind the Braves in the race for the best record in the league. Lead the Pod 3-0.
Randy Knorr lays down a bunt. Garcia thought about second base, takes the easy out at first. A successful sacrifice for the Ranger catcher.
I like the idea that Garcia came off the mound thinking about getting the guy at second base, but as a young pitcher, he might not have realized what's coming up in the order. Look at him try to go. He gets his footwork set to throw, but when he couldn't come up with it, he decided to go ahead and make the throw to first. But when you've got the 9th hitter coming up and then the leadoff hitter coming up, those aren't RBI type guys. You've got to be confident as a #1 pitcher. I can get those guys out. Forget about you putting him in the scoring position and just go to work on the next 2 hitters.
Johnny Oates getting some production out of the bottom of his order. Green scored the first run of the game on a single that brought Leday home in the second. He's playing some small ball, the likes of which has not been necessary the last 4 years in Texas. And they were always at or near the top in batting average, home runs, runs scored. Could sit back and wait for Gonzalez or Rodriguez or Palmeiro to park a 3-run home run.
He also knows how to manage games this time of the year. Last 5 years, he's won 3 divisional titles for the Texas Rangers. So in fact, Texas never won anything until Johnny Oates and his coaching staff arrived. It's good to see the owner of the Rangers endorse Johnny Oates for next year. Bring his staff back. Johnny Oates hasn't changed as a manager. There's just been a lot of changes with his ball club.
Well, there's the team playing hard for him, which is a pretty critical measurement too, because they have not been in it since really early June. They were tied for first June 5th. They are 40-61 since then. Last year a club record 95 wins. This year their worst record since '88. Green tried to dig that one out and missed.
Well, you go back to Green's last at bat. Why did Garcia try to throw the fastball by him down the middle? He obviously has a weakness. There's a reason people hit 9th. It's because they're not hitting. And why is he not hitting? There's proof right there. 3 curveballs, 3 strikes. Go sit down.
Second strikeout for Freddie Garcia. Top of the order, Catalanotto, who is 1 for 2 with a single to lead off the game.
I like the size of this guy, height-wise. I mean, fool you. Just 270 at bats. He's hit 10 home runs. There's a lot of power in the second baseman for Texas.
That swing notwithstanding. Easy one-hopper back to Garcia. So Lamb with the leadoff single, but no damage, and it's still tied at 2. Including Martinez, Olerud, and Buhner in order in the 3rd inning, and now the bottom 1/3 of the Seattle order, which has done the damage. Bell, Wilson, and McLemore each singled in the 2nd. McLemore drove in the first run of the game. Bell and Wilson ended up scoring the 2 Seattle runs to this point.
We can't forget, though, that Bell's base hit was on a ball that was misplayed by the center fielder, Scarborough Green, to start the inning. Nothing hit hard in that inning.
Davis 5 strikeouts through 3. Former 10th round pick out of City College of San Francisco, 1996. This one is well hit down the line and left. Curtis watches it sail out of here. Home run. David Bell makes it 3-2 Mariners.
Well, all right. Now there has been something hit hard and far. David Bell loves hitting against the Texas Ranger pitching. Probably the reason manager Lou Piniella had him in there. The 9th home run of the year, hitting right at .350 career against Texas. That cut fastball not able to get in on the inner half of the plate. Instead, it became a souvenir outside the ballpark down the left field line.
9th of the year for Bell. It puts Seattle in front 3-2. Now Dan Wilson is ahead, 2 balls and no strikes.
This is where you got to keep an eye on a young pitcher like we have on both teams tonight. After a guy hits the ball hard, some young guys get the tendency not to want to let him hit it anymore. And then you lead yourself into a big inning.
Doug Davis in his last 7 starts has never allowed more than 3 runs. That is our first extra base hit of the game. The previous 9 by the 2 teams combined have all been singles. And he follows the Bell homer with a 4-pitch walk to the number 8 hitter Wilson. The division series again this year on ESPN beginning Tuesday. Division series doubleheader 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern. 12:30, 9:30 Pacific for the pregame. And of course the matchups very much still to be determined. Our coverage starts with baseball tonight at 12:30. Lots of questions to be answered. Seattle will either lead Oakland by a half game again or trail by a half game. After this one, McLemore lays down a nice bunt. Davis has only 1 play. Wilson down to second with 1 out now and 1 run home in the 4th.
Typical Mark McLemore right there, playing the game of baseball with the name on the front of his jersey, not the name on the back. Always trying to find a way to advance runners, as he did in the bottom of the 2nd when he drove in the 1st run of the game. He's in hopes that that sacrifice bunt will lead to the 4th run of the night for Seattle.
Back to Ricky Henderson at the top of the order. Ground out in the walk for Ricky so far. So go figure. A-Rod, Martinez, Olerud, and Buhner are a combined 0 for 7. Bell, Wilson, and McLemore are a combined 4 for 4 with 3 runs scored. 7, 8, 9 hitters. But again, the mark of a good team, it doesn't always have to come from the same people.
And it's not. There's no way you can expect a guy not to go through a tough period, as A-Rod and also Edgar have gone through during the month of September.
Davis lost Wilson on 4 pitches. Now in danger of doing the same to Henderson.
Watch how low he gets here.
Actually squares up, taking all the way 3-1.
That worked the last time. He faked the bunt. Davis missed up and away.
Looks at that one on the inside corner, and it's full.
Now, I don't agree with that at all. That's a little selfish on the part of Ricky Henderson. He knows the season's winding down. He wants to catch Babe Ruth in that walk department, but that's a 3-1 fastball where you want it. You got to win the pennant first.
Little blooper out behind second base to Clayton for the 2nd out. So 2 outs in the 4th. Mariners just taking a 3-2 lead here at Safeco Field in Seattle. Dave Barnett, Rick Sutcliffe. Rangers led 1-0 through an inning and a half. Mariners went ahead 2-1 with 2 in the 2nd. Rangers tied it in the 3rd. Now the Mariners break back, and Seattle is in a flat-footed tie for the division lead with the Oakland Athletics, who defeated Anaheim 9-7 today. Indians also winners over Minnesota. 1.5 back in the wild card. 2 spots there, 3 teams chasing. That is a foul ball, according to the home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg.
And you say, why would the home plate umpire make that call? Well, if you just tuned in, the crew tonight working a little bit short. The original home plate umpire, Eric Cooper, out with the stomach flu. So because of the rotation, Laz Diaz will be at second base on this call. And the home plate umpire now, Jeff Kellogg, has to make that call. Obviously makes the right call. A little overtime for the umpires tonight. Something that they have to do at the minor league level to get to the big leagues. But just like in the game of baseball with players and teams, you got to pick your teammates up once in a while. And they're doing that.
0-1 to Cameron, who drove in his 75th of the year on the sac fly to left in the second. That put Seattle at that time on top 2-1. Garcia has had his rough spots dealing with the Rangers. But again, his bats have given him a lead as Davis struggles through the fourth. Garcia, who came over 2 years ago at the deadline in the Randy Johnson trade from the Houston organization, along with another starter, John Halama. And Carlos Guillen has taken the night off. Mariners get 3 regulars. Astros get a half season out of Randy Johnson. Hit well to left. Curtis coming in, takes it on a hop. Dan Wilson scores without a throw. And it is 4-2 Mariners. They've got the runner hung up between first and second, however, and Cameron makes the third out of the inning, but not before he extends the lead to 2 for the Mariners. Big blow to ignite that inning. The 9th homer of the year by David Bell. 2 in the bottom of the fourth to put the Mariners on top by 2. 4-2. Here's another look at the last play of the inning.
Well, it was all set up by the sacrifice bunt from Mark McLemore to get the runner in scoring position in hopes that somebody will get a base hit. They were not going to get Dan Wilson with 2 outs. He was off and running. Like Cameron, a little bit over aggressive, particularly when you think about the heart of the lineup coming up behind him. I know the heart of the lineup hadn't done much, but you got to stay at first base there and hope that they can get something going.
Yeah, in theory, you would like to give Alex Rodriguez at least a chance to keep the inning going, but Cameron was hung up between first and second after Lamb cut off the throw from Curtis. It was an easy out. A-Rod never got up, and it's 0-2 to Clayton. Deprived of 2 of his best clubhouse buddies this year, Mark McLemore, Tom Goodwin. And some would say it's been reflected in his play as he has slumped over the last 41 games, hitting just .213. Does have a career high 14 home runs, but none since July 14th. He's now better than 2 months since he hit number 14. The appeal by Wilson, and Mike Riley brings up Clayton. Garcia's third strikeout.
And it looks like Garcia is starting to get it all together here. He was able to get out of the top of the 4th inning after the sacrifice, a runner in scoring position. He struck out Strawborough game because he found the release point on that curveball, as he did in the at-bat right there with Royce Clayton.
He's gotten Palmeiro swinging early in the count twice. Pitches outside. He does it again on the first pitch. And A-Rod requiring the scoop by Olerud. Well, whatever he's throwing up there is awfully tempting to Rafi, because he's swinging first pitch each of the last 2 grounded to Rodriguez at short.
Pitching, defense, and timely hitting. That has been the key to Seattle all year. Last year it was just give me a lot of offense. This year the first thing they concentrated on was getting a staff together. They're second in the league in ERA. The second, putting a team behind them that can catch the ball. They're third in the league in defense. They're just terrific plays there on the part of A-Rod getting to it, Olerud coming up with it, and also Dan Wilson, the catcher, hustling down the line to back up that throw in case it got away.
0-2 to Chad Curtis. One of the more remarkable things about Seattle's season, they are 12th in batting average in the American League, but 4th in runs scored. Timely hitting. There's the definition of it.
And on-base percentage.
Clayton down on 3 pitches. 2 strikeouts in the 5th as Garcia rounds into form with a 4-2 lead. We move into the bottom of the 5th. Throughout that break, A standing ovation, a long, loud thank you for the career of Edgar Martinez as A-Rod starts the Mariner fifth by grounding out to Clayton. On the message board here at Safeco Field, congratulations, Edgar, all-time leader, games played. That went up as soon as the third out was recorded in the last half inning. And the crowd, many of whom may not have been aware that he was breaking Ken Griffey Jr.'s record tonight, became aware of it, and a spontaneous flow of emotion resulted as Martinez steps in here. It resumes. A long, productive history here in Seattle for a New York City native. You know, if he played in New York, he played in Boston, Atlanta, maybe LA, he's a household name. As it is, he's a household name in every household in Puget Sound.
He's a household nightmare in every American League pitcher's house because of what he has done throughout his career.
Around the country. Only seen him in the postseason a couple times. A chance they'll see him for the third time here, and just gets better and better with each passing year. Now at age 37. All-time record at that age for RBIs in a season. Previous record holder, Babe Ruth, 4-pitch walk.
And you know what Alex Rodriguez tells me about his teammate Edgar Martinez? He said, "I'm not kidding you, son." He said he's a better person than he is player. Now that's hard to believe because, I mean, this guy's a heck of a baseball player. But you just think about it. I mean, over the course of his career, there's never been a bad word said about Edgar Martinez. I mean, just a tremendous ovation for a tremendous guy.
And there really haven't been enough good words said about it. Partly because he plays here, so many late results that don't show up in the Eastern papers. Maybe partly because the last several years he's been pretty much strictly a DH.
Well, the one thing that he doesn't do well is that he doesn't know how to self-promote himself. You never hear him talking about himself. He talks about the team getting into the postseason and how important it is for him to play here in Seattle.
0-2 to Olerud, who struck out last time up.
I'll tell you another thing A-Rod told me a couple of weeks ago. If they don't sign Edgar Martinez back here, Seattle can forget about any chance they have of keeping him in a Mariner uniform.
Got the 5th longest tenure with the same club working right now. Behind Ripken, Gwynn, Larkin, and Glavine.
Don't say no more. Ripken, Tony Gwynn, Tom Glavine, and Barry Larkin.
Jonathan Johnson getting loose. Glavine also began in '87 as a Brave. Olerud now 0 for 3 with 2 straight strikeouts by Davis.
He is really deceptive. Look at Davis throwing across his body, and it just doesn't look like John Olerud has picked the baseball up yet tonight. He took a lot of pitches his first at bat when he grounded out to the first baseman Rafael Palmeiro. A couple of men on, and that ended the inning. Since then, he's not been able to make contact off the Ranger left-hander.
Jay Buhner has struck out twice and has been unable to hold up on that high fastball.
Well, Davis is just sneaky quick. He's so deceptive with that velocity. 87 to 90. Forget about what it says on the radar gun. He adjusted his delivery early in his minor league career because he knew he didn't throw hard enough to get anybody out. He got that stride rather than going directly towards home plate. It goes a little bit towards the first baseline, and by his body shielding his arm in the baseball, he's able to keep the hitter from picking up the baseball as quick as he normally would. That adds that deception. Well, because of your body going towards the first baseline, it gets tougher to pitch into a right-hander, as he tried to do there. Well, what happened was pitching coach Dick Bosman developed a cut fastball for him. Fastball that has a little left to right movement. So you don't have to be so fine with it. Rather than hitting your spots, you let the movement on the baseball get the people out.
He's got 6 Mariners out on strikes tonight.
That's a pretty good hammer there, too. You got Jay Buhner looking on that same pitch for strike 3 in his last at bat. Caught him looking there for strike 2 in this at bat.
And the leader in that 7-8-9 assault, David Bell on deck. Hopped out of place to a 2-2.
Well, Jay's got to be thinking he might have jinxed himself before the game. We're sitting there talking to him. I have not seen a whole lot of Doug Davis, but he said, you know what? I had him in my book twice. And into tonight's game, 2 for 3 with 2 homers, both of them 3-run shots. Look at the grip there. I would imagine it's going to be a curveball. To come back with that fastball on the inside. That's really been the only thing missing tonight, has been his command of that straight 4-seam fastball in to both the right-handed and left-handed hitter. Cutter's been good. Curve's been outstanding.
Popped up on the right side, Palmeiro. And Buhner 0 for 3. Only the one-out walk to Martinez in the 5th. Still 4-2 Seattle. On to the 6th at Safeco Field. 4-2 Mariners. Leday, Sierra, and Lamb to face Freddie Garcia. Rangers got their runs in the 2nd and the 3rd. But starting to round into form with a 8-pitch, 2-strikeout 5th inning. Ricky Leday ended an 0 for 12 slump with an RBI single in the 3rd, which at the time tied the game at 2.
You can see Ricky Leday with that right leg starting that little mini Juan Gonzalez kick. That's something that the hitting instructor of the Texas Rangers, Rudy Jaramillo, came up with for Leday. It's just kind of a trigger type mechanism. Juan Gonzalez was one of the first projects. There's a look at Rudy along with Bucky Dent. Juan Gonzalez gives a lot of credit to Rudy for his success. Pudge Rodriguez, Rafael Palmeiro, and even Jeff Bagwell.
Pretty impressive list of students of Jaramillo, and maybe his best success this year was with Gabe Kapler. Came over charged with replacing Juan Gonzalez in right field and at the plate. Was having a horrible time until the All-Star break, and Jaramillo got him to try that leg kick. And he hit .344 in the 2nd half of the season, had a 28-game hitting streak. Leday down on strikes. Garcia has struck out 3 of the last 4. College football coming up this weekend begins tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern with College Football Tonight presented by Gateway. And the number 2 Florida State visits Byrd Stadium and the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland with a Heisman candidate of their own this year, Lamont Jordan, to take on the likes of Chris Weinke and Travis Minor, the defending national champions. Ruben Sierra is 1 for 2.
You mentioned and Garcia struck out 3 of the last 4, and the reason has been that first pitch he started Sierra off with. Good curveball.
Swung at that one about chin high, and it is just over the screen. 0-2.
What makes that overhand curveball so effective is the fact that it not only expands the hitter's zone east and west, but now it goes north and south too. This is the same location he started the curveball off with, which dropped in for a strike. Sierra, possibly thinking it's another curveball, starts his swing and then has to try to go up there and reach that pitch. Now you got the hitter looking up and down, in and out. Well, that's when you start dominating, as Garcia has done the last couple of innings. Climbing that ladder. Swings it to one shoulder high. See if he'll chase one even higher than that. If he doesn't, now you figure that, okay, he's locked off of that. He's trying to lower his sights, start the curveball up in that area, and see if he gives up on it. He just missed with it. That's where that human element becomes involved. Dan Wilson, Freddie Garcia, they wanted it for a strike, but it's not like those Nintendo games where you can put everything where you want it. A lot of adrenaline that goes on in a young man's body.
2-2, and Sierra swings at what would have been ball 3. 3 straight strikeouts, 4 of the last 5 Rangers down on strikes.
Well, he's got it all going right now. Here he comes back with a changeup. That's why they talk about, to be a starting pitcher at the big league level, you need 3 pitches. You might get through the lineup the first time with your fastball. The second time around, you go to the curveball. Well, guess what? Here's the 3rd time around, and Garcia's got that changeup to go to. Next thing you know, you're in the 7th, 8th inning. In the past, it didn't mean a whole lot for the Seattle Mariners because of all of the problems they had in their bullpen, but that is not the case anymore.
No, they've got some door slammers out there. Lou Piniella, who had to ham and egg a closer so often in the past, now has Mr. Sasaki to go to. And on Arthur Rhodes, Jose Paniagua, Brett Tomko to set him up. Completely different situation in the latter part of the game this year for Piniella. Plenty of good choices out there. 2-1 to Mike Lamb. Signaled his last time up. He was the first strikeout victim of Garcia back in the 2nd.
Here's where Garcia's just got to forget about the strikeouts now. Throw the sinker on the outer half of the plate. Get you a ground ball somewhere and go sit down.
Line shot up the middle and a second base hit for Mike Lamb, who had been struggling to the tune of 4 for his last 32 before tonight. Lamb on Sunday continued his struggles in the field. He committed his 31st and 32nd errors, tops among all Major League third basemen. Since the All-Star break, has driven in 18 runs and has committed errors leading to 14 unearned runs. But the bat coming through for Lamb tonight now, Randy Knorr. 0 for 1, successful sacrifice last time up in the 4th. No Rodriguez, so it's either B.J. Wasgas or Randy Knorr finishing out the season catching for the Rangers. Rangers have only 2 members of their opening day lineup in this lineup, and it's Clayton at short and Palmeiro at first. They have 10 different players out for the season, including the catcher Pudge Rodriguez, the center fielder Ruben Mateo, whose broken leg started the slide. Woods was deprived of his bat and glove in center in early June.
Talking with the general manager for the Texas Rangers this afternoon, Doug Melvin, he said that was the beginning of all of the problems for Texas. They built their ball club and their outfield in particular around young Ruben Mateo. Thought that offensively he could pick up the slack for Juan Gonzalez being traded, along with Gabe Kapler,
and allow Kapler to play right. And instead he's had to play center after that Mateo injury. This is a fair ball into the corner at left. Henderson bobbles it. Coming to the plate is Lamb, and he's well ahead of the throw, and it's 4-3. Randy Knorr with his 3rd RBI as a Ranger.
Ricky Henderson not doing a whole lot to help Seattle tonight. He picked up a base on ball, which gets him personally closer to Babe Ruth, but that doesn't help the Seattle Mariners. In his last at bat with a man on base in scoring position, takes a 3-1 fastball right down the middle, as that fastball was. Now look what he does down the left field line. He's in perfect position, but what happens? He drops the ball. Well, when he drops the ball, third base coach Jerry Narron for Texas in position to send the runner, and that he does. And the next thing you know, Texas is 1 run closer on what should go as an unearned run up to this point.
Bottom third of the Ranger order has done damage, as it has for Seattle. Lamb 2 for 3 with a run scored. Knorr has a sacrifice, now an RBI double.
Where's the error at on the scoreboard? Are they not watching the same game we are?
Has not been posted yet. Green has an RBI single. Behind 0-2 here. And certainly doesn't even get the chance to score without that bobbling left by Henderson. Not the speediest of runners, and Paniagua is getting loose in the Mariner pen with 2 outs in the 6th. All 3 runs scoring for the Rangers after 2 were out. Leday in the 2nd, Curtis in the 3rd, Lamb here in the 6th.
Well, a terrific job on the part of Dan Wilson blocking that ball in the dirt. Wilson is not only doing the job defensively, offensively as well. He scored 2 runs tonight. But a catcher's kind of like the assistant pitching coach on a staff. And Wilson out there to talk to Garcia, saying, hey, all right, the crowd's getting into this game, but that means that you have to control that adrenaline. That's what happens a lot of times with a guy coming out of the bullpen. All of the first inning problems, he's got control of his fastball, got control of the curveball, but he doesn't have control of that adrenaline that you have once the game starts. And that's what happened to Garcia there on that 0-2 pitch.
2-2 to Green. This after Garcia looked like he found all his pitches. Struck out 2 and getting the side in order in the 5th.
I would think that's a little setup piece on the part of Dan Wilson. Show him the fastball once again. You got him the last time to strike out on the bad curveball. Show him the fastball, and now go back to that off-speed pitch.
Run on 2nd, and just able to stay alive on that bouncer foul. Still 2-2. Apparently nothing is going to come easy for Lou Piniella. A's win. Mariners clinging to a 1-run lead, trying to cling to a half-game lead in the West. They have not been out of first place since June 28th, but that possibility looming as this game moves through the 6th inning. Rangers in the spoiler role, not something they relish or have been accustomed to lately, but they've got tomorrow to finish off this series here in Seattle. Then they move into Oakland. And they have won 7 of 9 against the A's this year. They'll still play a role, if not the starring role. Another block by Wilson. And he appeals, but Laz Diaz says he did not go around, and Piniella can't believe that. Wilson thought he was tagging Green for out number 3.
Piniella's upset with it. The crowd is upset with it, but watching it live as Laz Diaz had to there, I didn't think he took a swing at it either. It's a curveball once again. It's close. On second thought, he might have kind of whooped that around. Watch the bat kind of come up and down. That's a swing. Lou Piniella has every right to be upset. This inning should be over with. I've had a lot of hitters say that when, a lot of outfielders say that when a ball comes off a dark colored bat, as that Scarborough Green is swinging right now, it's more difficult to pick up on a night game. I never played the outfield, so I don't know a whole lot about that, but I've talked to a lot of them, and I believe them when they say that. I think the color of that bat might have had something to do with Laz Diaz and where he's at in particular, not being able to see that. If he's down the third baseline, if there's a full crew, well, it's an easier call for him. But standing out there at second where he's at, it's a difficult call.
Game 2 of a 3-game series. First place on the line. 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Nearly in the dirt, and Green is a 2-out walk. And the fans picking up on Piniella's disgust with Jeff Kellogg thinking this, and with Diaz thinking this should already be in the books, this top half of the 6th inning.
Well, you can't help but think, what's it going to be the last week of the season that determines who wins the AL West? Is it going to be a check swing as that last one was by Scarborough Green that's not called? Well, if Frank Catalanato hits one out of the ballpark, that's what people are going to talk about tomorrow. There's Lou Piniella out on the mound. Is he going to stick with Garcia? Is he going to go to the bullpen? There's so many things that this pennant could come down to.
I mean, it really can be decided one way or the other almost every at bat in a game like this. They let it get away. That's one that allows Oakland to take first place. They're tied 88 and 69. 88 wins, 69 losses. Catalanado 1 for 3 with a first inning single. Has a chance to tie it, perhaps put the Rangers in front. 2 on with 2 outs. Garcia left in to deal with Catalanado. He can't hold off that one in the dirt. 0-1.
Quick trip to the mound by Lou Piniella. Ask Garcia, how you doing? I'm fine. He turns right around and comes back. You don't like to let him stand out there and get cold on a night like this. If he's okay, get out of his way, let him go to work.
0-2.
That outside corner has started to grow a little bit for home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg. As a veteran catcher like Dan Wilson, look at that. Ball probably 6-8 inches off the corner. If he's going to call that one for the second strike, let the crowd help him. See if you can't get the third strike on a pitch that the guy at home plate, the batter, can't reach.
Swung at it the first time Garcia served that pitch up, and Catalanado holds off here 1-2.
Garcia's got so much confidence in that changeup. A lot of people throw a changeup to get it out. That's a strikeout pitch for Freddie Garcia. Going on an 0-2 count.
Popped up. Short left field. Rodriguez out, Henderson in, and it'll be Ricky Henderson. But the Rangers get a run on Randy Knorr's RBI double, and it is a 1-run game. The dangerous bottom third of the Mariner order in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ricky Henderson not charged with an error for some reason.
Well, look at Jerry Narin, the third base coach, right here, and what happens there. He was not waving the runner, Mike Lamb, until he saw this happen. When he saw the ball drop, now he goes ahead and sends him. Normally with 2 outs, if you think you got a chance to score him, you're waving him as a third base coach from the time he touches second. Narin was not doing that. He was going to hold him up. But when Ricky dropped the ball, he sent him, and what should be an unearned run, what should have been a run that wouldn't have scored, ends up scoring, and we're in a 1-run game.
David Bell taking a shot down the left side where he homered last time up. Bell 2 for 2. Single in the second, scored a run, and then this blast to lead off the 4th.
Exactly the same location on that pitch, but instead of it being a fastball that he hit out, it was a changeup that he pulled foul. That's just good pitching right there. That's not only credit for Doug Davis, but give the veteran catcher Randy Knorr some credit for that too. Starts him off with the changeup in. Bell too quick, pulls it foul. Now Bell's going to adjust. He's going to try to stay back on the changeup. Now you throw the fastball right by him. He's not able to put it in play.
104th pitch of the night by Davis is grounded fair down the right field line. He will hold with a single. Ricky Leday got to in the hurry. So David Bell, who grew up in the Ranger dugout as a preschooler, watching his father Buddy play third base in Arlington, 3 for 3 tonight.
Not going to look very impressive as far as the numbers are concerned for Doug Davis tonight, but he has impressed not only his manager Johnny Oates, but also the Seattle Mariner. When you go through the heart of the lineup and strike out A-Rod, Edgar, Olerud, and Buhner in succession, you're going to get somebody's attention, and Doug Davis has done that tonight.
Jonathan Johnson makes his way in. We're in the 6th inning in a 4-3 game. 26-year-old Jonathan Johnson comes on for the 13th time this year in relief of Doug Davis tonight in a 4-3 ball game. Former high pick, 7th overall in the first round in 1995 out of Florida State. 1 game with the Rangers in '98, 1 game last year, and finally sticking the second half this year.
The Rangers want to take a look at some of their prospects as well for next year, and Jonathan Johnson is one of those guys.
And he watches Dan Wilson butt right to him. He has a chance to make the play at second. He bounces it to Clayton, but in time to retire David Bell.
Very, very fortunate there, Jonathan Johnson, that he had the right guy covering second base. The veteran Royce Clayton able to slow the moment down, even though the crowd's excited. He's not. Look at how patient Clayton is on this throw. Comes up with the scoop nicely. I mean, how bad was that throw? That ball bounced on the grass. He missed second base by about 15 feet.
Clayton played it the way Palmeiro would have at first. Now the 9-hitter, McLemore. 1 for 1 with an RBI. McLemore bothered throughout his 4 years with the Rangers by bad knees. Surgery on both last year. Rangers let him go to Seattle as a free agent. And he says not only are they feeling great, he's proved it with a career-high year in stolen bases. 29 steals this year. At age 35. Well, we have to think. Count on one hand the number of players who have their best year on the base paths at that rather advanced baseball age. Johnson ahead of him here, 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Belatedly, that play that we just showed you by Ricky Henderson, when he dropped the double by Nord left, has been ruled an error. As it should have from the beginning, so at least give him credit for changing it. After he had a while to chew on it. McLemore going the other way. Left center field gap. Curtis can't get to it. It's all the way to the wall. And Wilson will come on around to score. On a double by McLemore, his second RBI of the night.
In McLemore's last at bat, he was asked to sacrifice bunt, put the runner at second base in scoring position, and it was Mike Cameron that got the base hit to drive in that run. But when the sacrifice didn't work for Dan Wilson, a base hit's not going to do it. McLemore hits the ball into the gap, an extra base hit. Plenty of distance to score the 5th run of the night for Seattle, and also put McLemore in a position to score another run.
So again, the killer portion of the order, 7, 8, 9. Now 6 for 7, 3 RBIs, and all 5 of the Seattle runs tonight. Back to Ricky Henderson.
Well, that's really was the story in the Oakland series. Seattle lost the first 3. They only scored 10 runs in that 4-game series, and the 3, 4, and 5 hitters hit under 200. So it hadn't just been tonight's game. It's been about a week now.
2-0 to Henderson, whose 2060th walk in the second. This sandwiched between a ground out and a pop-up.
This has walk written all over it, doesn't it?
As far as he's concerned, you got to think it does with some of the pitches that he laid off that last at bat.
Well, the walk total kind of high for Jonathan Johnson. Just called up in September.
Down the middle with that one.
Tells you what I know about Jonathan Johnson. 26 innings, 15 walks, 20 strikeouts. Right out a hit an inning coming into tonight's game. Always something you like to see. No more than that.
3-1. Pitch away from moving to 1 walk behind the bag.
Well, the last time up with a 3-1 count and a runner in scoring position, Ricky didn't even think about swinging the bat. A fastball in the inner half.
Ball, strike 2.
That's a little bit different, though, than the one he took the last at bat. The last one was a ball on the inner half of the plate. I've thrown the one on the inner half of the plate to Ricky Henderson. First pitch fastball, 3-1 fastball, and he hits it out of the park. That fastball, paint on the outside corner. All right, I can see you taking that.
3-2 pitch lined up the middle in front of Scarborough Green, a base hit. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is in time to get McLemore. Not by much, but Green throws a strike to Randy Knorr for out number 2 in the 6th.
They think he may be part of their picture next year as far as the outfield is concerned. They don't know where Scarborough Green will fit in, but they like his defense. A good, strong throw to home plate and plenty of time to get McLemore. They know that the speed is there. I thought the tag might have been a little bit high. We'll see if McLemore gets his foot in there. Or coming back with the tag quickly, though. Looks like he got it on him in time. No argument for Mark McLemore. He felt the pressure on his body with the glove and the ball before he felt home plate. Scarborough Green, the only question on him that they have, though, will he be able to hit enough to be an everyday outfielder at the big league level?
That is a major question mark for him, but he's hit tonight. Got a single and a walk. Now you got lefty-righty action with Zimmerman and Benefro. Both outs for the Mariners here in the 6th, recorded on the base paths. Bell thrown out at second on an unsuccessful sacrifice attempt by Wilson. McLemore gunned down at the plate and has the torn pants to prove it.
If his uniform's not torn, it's almost always dirty after a ball game, being the uniform of Mark McLemore.
Henderson to deal with now, down at first with 2 outs. Moving well past his 40th birthday, 4th in the American League with 30 stolen bases. Mike Cameron now. Rangers have not been able to deal with Cameron. He was 3 for 6 with 4 RBIs in the first 2 games of this series. And they are watching with interest in LaGrange, Georgia, because that small town in the south produced both Cameron and Johnson. A year apart, Cameron 27, Johnson 26. Three Mariners in the 6th. Needing a win to remain in first place. There goes Henderson. The throw by Knorr is nowhere near in time, and it gets into center field. Green's throw to third also not in time.
Absolutely no chance for the Texas Ranger catcher Randy Knorr. Look at the big lead. He was already out to the cut of the grass there. Henderson's got to get a little bit bigger lead now than he once had to. He used to be able to just outrun the baseball. And that's great attention on the part of Ricky Henderson. You slide into second and you look behind you. Look out into center field. You see a baseball, get up and go to third. That's the same way they teach base runners when they're running down the first base line. Once you hit the bag on a close play, look to your right. Look in foul territory. If the baseball's back there, it's gotten past the first baseman, then you go on.
So he gets the steal. He takes third on the air by Knorr. 2-1 pitch coming here to Cameron. Chopper handled by Royce Clayton. But the Mariners get another run here in the 6th inning. 5-3 their lead over Texas. Ricky Henderson has been pulled and replaced by Charles Gibson in left field. And Freddie Garcia's evening is over as well, as Jose Paniagua has come out of the Mariner bullpen here in the 7th inning. 27 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. 3-0, 5 saves, and an ERA under 3.5.
Well, he had an outstanding year last year. It didn't show record-wise, but ERA-wise, right at 4. The only difference was more base on balls last year than this year. conversation that he had earlier in the season with the closer for Tampa Bay, Roberto Hernandez, helped the control and command of the fastball of Paniagua.
Royce Clayton fouls his first pitch back.
The conversation with Hernandez was about the grip on that fastball. Paniagua showed Hernandez where he always had his fingers together. He said, why do you do that? Widen them a little bit. Get a little bit better feel for the baseball. You don't have to put it back any further. You don't have to tighten the grip anymore. Just expand the grip and it'll give you a better feel. Take a look at the numbers from last year as opposed to this year.
I gotta say, that's a pretty effective piece of advice.
You know, and it can come from anywhere. I think back on a lot of guys' careers and how you really learn more with your eyes than you ever do your ears. And a lot of pitching coaches that will have advice for you. Some advice will work, some won't.
Clayton swinging at everything, fouling 3 straight off. You think about it, though, that's how you learn the game of baseball. You watch the older kids show you how to swing, how to throw, how to pitch, how to run.
And you also watch anybody that's having any kind of success in the game doing what you do. Like Garcia tonight. Why was he successful after the 3rd inning? He was able to command that breaking ball. Or the curveball for a strike. Everything else fell into place.
Clayton up there hacking, finally gets one fair into the right field corner. He will at least get 2 out of this one. Buhner up with it. It will be a leadoff 7th inning double for Clayton.
The 2 guys that jump out at you when you look at this Texas lineup are this guy right here, Royce Clayton, and now what could be the tie-in run coming to home plate, and Rafael Palmeiro. Other than that, just not a whole lot that we have heard of as of late. Ruben Sierra, once a terrific player, but has not been around the last several years.
Palmeiro, each of his last 2 trips has grounded the first pitch he saw to short. First inning, grounded the 3rd pitch to 2nd. And again, he swings at the 1st and lifts it to deep center field. Cameron in front of the track. And Clayton will tag and take 3rd with 1 out in the 7th.
He is such a good hitter and such a smart hitter, as being Rafael Palmeiro. He's trying to hit the ball out of the park, but he also knows that if he makes an out, he needs to advance the runner. We're still here in the 7th inning. You get 1 run closer now. You're only down by 1, a couple of innings. You can come back and win the ball game. Tie it. Even though he made the out, he made it in the proper location. A situation where he could move Clayton to 3rd.
Your description of Edgar Martinez and how easy he makes the difficult act of hitting look, doesn't that also apply to Palmeiro?
Absolutely.
Just never seems to swing hard.
We talked about Edgar Martinez, now the all-time leader for Seattle Mariners in games played, passing Ken Griffey Jr. You know who won, who played on the team with the most winning games in the 1990s? Rafael Palmeiro.
Rangers let him get away for 5 prime years to Baltimore. Shot on the right side is deflected into right field off the glove of Olerud, and coming home to make it 5-4 is Clayton. So he gets the leadoff double, advanced to 3rd on the deep fly out by Palmeiro, and Chad Curtis brings him home.
And had Palmeiro not advanced Royce Clayton to 3rd base, John Olerud might have been a little bit deeper and maybe had a little bit more range down there at 1st base. But he was in to try to cut the run off at home plate. The ball glancing off his glove, and now the tying run is on base in Chad Curtis.
Ricky Leday has scored a run and driven in a run, and looks at a strike. Garcia goes 6 innings, 3 runs on 7 hits, strikes out 3, walks, or strikes out 6, walks 3. And a Double-barreled action now in the Seattle bullpen. Jose Mesa, Rob Ramsey. 0-2 to Leday.
Well, a big thank you goes out to Aaron Seeley, throwing that shutout last night, complete game with the off day Monday scheduled, and Seeley giving the bullpen an off night last night. That bullpen's in great shape for the last week of the season.
And the reason that Piniella moved Garcia up and Moyer back to tomorrow afternoon, thought he might be better suited in case he has to come back on 3 days rest on Sunday, and he pulls him after 98 pitches. He could have gone more, but the whole idea was have him ready in case you have to have him on the last day of the regular season.
And look at all of the rest for those guys. Everybody with at least 2 days rest. Brett Tomko hasn't pitched in 5 days. He's one of those guys that probably needs to get an inning in tonight, but won't do that unless the Mariners are able to score a lot more runs and not need their normal rotation. Paniagua pitching the 7th, Arthur Rhodes the 8th, and then Sasaki for the 9th.
Awfully glad to get Seeley back on track. 4-0 with a 2.55 September earned run average. Ian Moyer, they've had some dark moments. Things will fall apart in the month of August for the Mariners. Leday down on strikes, the second out here in the 7th.
Paniagua with 3 quality pitches. There's the good hard slider down and in, the fastball and the command of it we talked about earlier, and he's also got a split fingered fastball that'll have movement down and away from a left-handed hitter. It's a quality pitch as well.
Ruben Sierra tonight 1 for 3. Back in the Rangers starting lineup for the first time since September of '92. First of his stops after Texas, he went to Oakland. The trade that brought Jose Canseco to Arlington, and has really bounced around. One of the Yankees. Several other stops. Seems to have learned his lesson, though. What you have to wonder is what would have happened to his career had he not gone on the unsupervised weightlifting binge that really changed his body. He had such a long, fluid swing before he decided to muscle up, and he was already a power hitter before he hit the weight so hard. He did it without the benefit of a strength coach advising him. And the consensus really around baseball is he just got too bulky and lost the stroke. Maybe getting some of it back, although clearly not the threat that he was before he left Texas the first time. But he did well over 300 at AAA this year. Was a AAA All-Star and got the September call-up.
He started the year in the Class AAA Mexican League, hitting right at 350.
He works a 4-pitch, 2-out walk from Paniagua as the tying run moves down to second in the person of Chad Curtis.
Well, the bullpen is ready. Should Lou Piniella decide to go that way. The guys up and throwing. Left-hander Ramsey looking in as if to say, this is my turn. You got me up. Left-handed hitter Mike Lamb at home plate. This doesn't look like a walk to the mound to check and see if the pitcher's okay. This looks like Lou might be wanting to do something, and he just wants to think about his words before he tells Paniagua that you're done for the night. That could be a conversation. He's looking to the veteran catcher Dan Wilson.
Lead him in.
Can he get him out? Wilson must have convinced Piniella that he can, because he's sticking with him.
And has singled each of his last 2 trips. scored a run on what was belatedly ruled an error in left field by Ricky Henderson. Double by Randy Noor. And a chance to tie it up or perhaps give the Rangers a lead with 2 outs in the 7th. Curtis at second, Sierra at first.
Well, it makes you wonder why you would have a left-hander even up in the pen if you're not going to bring him in to face this left-handed hitter.
And the third time they've met, 1 for 2 for laying off Paniagua, and Paniagua does the job. He gets him to bounce to Olerud. But the Rangers get a run in the 7th to make it a 1-run game again. Mariners nursing a 1-run lead. They move to the bottom of the 7th. First place on the line, and Lou Piniella makes, as it turns out, the correct decision, leaving Paniagua in. And he got the 3rd out, and Lou wanted to make sure the fans behind the dugout appreciated his wizardry.
He's been having fun with them all night. You know that when he came back after leaving Paniagua in, they were saying, Lou, what are you doing? How can you leave him out there? And then when Olerud caught the ball and recorded the last out, Lou wanted to get the last word in.
Alex Rodriguez shows bunt, takes ball 1. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And so the slump now 2 for 21 on this homestand for A-Rod. Johnson on for his 2nd inning of relief. The right-hander is Jeff Zimmerman. The left-hander is Ned Benefro. Doug Davis went 5, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits, struck out 6, walked 4. 1 and 2 to A-Rod.
A typical at bat the last week for A-Rod here, taking the strikes and swinging at pitches that are not strikes.
2 home runs away from another 40 home run season. And when you talk about shortstops hitting 40 or more, the list is a very short. You got Rico Petrocelli, who did it once. And you've got Ernie Banks, who did it 4 times. And A-Rod, he does it again this year. That's 3 40 home run seasons for him. Another strikeout, his 2nd tonight. He's 0 for 3.
Thought about bunting on the first pitch. Saw the infield back. Just wanted to see if he couldn't bring him in, but he didn't. There's the first strike right after the fake bunt, and then look what happens. We're climbing the ladder. Everything elevated, and A-Rod continuing to chase.
Edgar Martinez on board only once tonight. It was a 5th inning walk. He's flied to right and also struck out. So he was 0 for 2 against Doug Davis. Career high totals, home runs and RBIs. And typical of the Mariners, a much better hitter this year away from Safeco Field. On the road, he's 337. Just a shade under 300 now here at Safeco.
Coming into this year, Edgar over the last 5 years hit over 320 with over 20 home runs every year. The last guy to do that, a gentleman by the name of Ted Williams, from 1954 through 58.
Lays off the 94-mile-an-hour fastball high.
The one place they say the baseball will somewhat carry this time of night is down the right field line. Edgar Martinez has kind of like grooved his swing to take advantage of that corner.
Johnson wondering where that one missed. It's ball 4. A 1-out walk in the 7th inning. Our telecast tonight copyrighted and presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. For the most complete baseball coverage on the internet, you can go to MajorLeagueBaseball.com. Pitching change here in the 7th inning. Venefro will come on when we return to Seattle. In a 5-4 game, John Olerud tonight is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He now faces one of the few bright spots in the Ranger bullpen this year. Mike Venefro, second in the American League, making his 75th appearance of the year. 3-1, an ERA under 4. And he works with Martinez aboard after a 1-out walk. Jonathan Johnson went 1 in the 3rd, 3 hits. 1 strikeout in addition to the walk. Olerud on the left side and through the hole, base hit.
Well, the biggest part of the reason Venefro able to make this many appearances this year is the fact that he doesn't face very many people. One of the better left-handed release specialists in the game, normally called on to get one left-hander out, but tonight not able to do that.
Out comes Johnny Oates again. He's had Jeff Zimmerman warning for the last couple of innings, ready to come on with runners on first and second with 1 out. Another pitching change in Seattle. 5-4. 63rd appearance of the year now for Jeff Zimmerman, the 28-year-old out of British Columbia, who through the first half of '99 was absolutely untouchable. And hasn't been since then.
Well, through all of '99, the bullpen for the Texas Rangers was tremendous. Their record was 30-16, an ERA of just over 4. And Zimmerman, a big part of that. Last year, he was 9-3 with an ERA just over 2.
He is in to work on Jay Buhner, who sends that one back to the screen. Hitters had really the first half of last year to adjust to the slider, and it is one of the better sliders in baseball. Zimmerman made the all-star team as a setup man rookie, unheard of. 8-0, 0.86 ERA. But the rest of the league has learned how to lay off the slider, make him come in with a fastball, which is still going to hit 94, 95 most nights. But his adjustment now involves trying to get them to swing at his pitch instead of hit the pitch that they want to swing at.
Well, what a great story he was last year. He had stops in Paris, Canadian National League, and then he stopped at the All-Star game.
Didn't find anybody in North America to pitch for.
Played in some independent leagues, but it was that slider, Dave, as you mentioned. The first half last year, an ERA under 1 in 52 innings pitched. Over 4.5 the second half of the year.
1-run game, 2 outs and 1 out in the 7th. And 2-2 to Buhner.
What makes it easy to lay off, or easier, I should say, to lay off this outstanding slider Zimmerman has, is he really doesn't have command of that fastball in and out. You put that together with his slider, you've got a guy with closer potential.
Buhner down on strikes for the 3rd time tonight.
That was the command of the fastball we talked about. The location. Nora leaning to the outer half of the plate. The ball in that vicinity, probably off the plate. Buhner expanding the zone once again tonight. And Zimmerman doing his job.
Buhner 0 for 4, 3 Ks. David Bell 3 for 3, 2 runs, and his 9th home run of the year, and 45th driven in. 2 outs, 2 on, 1-run game in the 7th. 0-1 to David Bell.
Bell's always been one of those, you know, he grew up son of Buddy Bell in a baseball household. You know, pitchers that have patterns are guys that David Bell can handle. See, after chasing the first pitch slider and looking bad. In my mind there, David Bell's the type of hitter that, all right, I'm going to look slider this time and see if I can't get it. Well, what happened? Zimmerman throws the fastball with that command on the outer half, and now Bell doesn't know what to look for.
Last one in there at 93 down the middle. Lays off this one at 92. 1-2. Bell began the game at just 239.
Well, he also began the night when he was in the starting lineup. The Mariners 24 games over 500.
Good things happen when he's in there.
See, that's that command that Zimmerman is just lacking. He could have frozen with the 0-2 pitch with that fastball away. Had him again with the 0-2 fastball in. But not able to get him there.
Mariners hoping to get some insurance here. Bell hoping to get his pitch at 2-2 and fouls it back into the upper deck. Zimmerman out of TCU, and then with his professional opportunities lacking, got a master's in business at Simon Fraser University in Canada, native of Kelowna, British Columbia. He wrote a letter to every major league club after pitching in France, and the only one that responded and offered him a tryout, the Texas Rangers. An improbable start all the way to the All-Star game last year as a rookie. Not missing much there. 3-2.
We're going to have some noise. We're going to have some runners in motion. And we're going to see a pitch from Jeff Zimmerman.
Runners going. Lifted to right field, Leday. Just drifting back 2 or 3 steps for out number 3. It takes 3 Ranger relievers to work through the 7th and keep it 5-4 Seattle. New left fielder for the Mariners, Raul Ibanez, and that moves Charles Gibson, who came in last inning to replace Henderson in left, over to right field, where he replaces Jay Buhner. Jose Paniagua out for his 2nd inning in relief. 35,000 or so at Safeco tonight. Hoping to see the Mariners win their 89th of the year. The all-time club record, 90 wins. 3 years ago when they won their 2nd American League West. Pinch hitting Luis Alicea, who has appeared, counting tonight, just twice as a pinch hitter in the last 4 games. He has not been playing in the field because of a strained left calf. He's had a good year, hitting .295, 6 homers, 63 RBIs, and filled a big hole for the Rangers as their leadoff men. One by one proved not to be up to the task until they gave Alicea the shot. Night of shutouts around baseball. Cubs 1-0 behind Kerry Wood. Giants 4-0 over the Dodgers. Seattle 3-0 over the Padres.
Not only a good year for Luis Alicea, who will be a free agent at the end of this season, but he was the first guy Joe Torre mentioned at the All-Star meeting, Torre being the manager, about he regretted not being able to include Alicea as part of that team.
At that time, well over 300. Paniagua thought he had him at the knees, and the appeal doesn't work to Las Diaz.
I think Dan Wilson just looked to Las Diaz because look at him right here. He thought he had it. He was getting ready to throw it down to third. Whoops, you're not going to call that strike 3? Well, let me check with Laz just so that I don't make you mad by showing you up.
Wilson's been stopping him in the dirt all night.
All night. Pretty much all of his career. This guy got to the big leagues because of how he handles pitches like that and how he handles stats.
Pinch hitters have been the best as a group in baseball this year. 343 they're 0 for their last 12. They also lead the American League 4 pinch hit home runs this year. Seattle, on the other hand, the worst pinch hitting in baseball this season. Might have been ball 4 low out of the zone. Alicea sends it out of play, and it's still 3-2.
I think that pinch hitting statistic a lot more important in the National League than it is over here. Not a whole lot done. Alicea would obviously have been in the lineup if he were healthy tonight. Strong benches so important over in the National League, though, particularly this part of the game.
Alicea making Paniagua work. Rangers got to him for a run in the 7th inning, and a leadoff double by Clayton, and an RBI single by Chad Curtis. Not going quietly, even though they are going. They will finish in last place in the division. Only 4 first to worst finishes in baseball history. Another one out of play by Alicea.
Trying to figure out who's trying to win the American League West tonight. You got about half the team up on the top step for Texas, including Rafael Palmeiro. You got hardly anybody over there on the Seattle side. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat coming up for Luis Alicea in his bat.
Finally gets it. Second strikeout for Paniagua. And remember, every game that decides a race on the final day of the regular season you can see on ESPN2. Our coverage beginning at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. They come down to Toronto and Cleveland, or the Rangers at Oakland, or Seattle at Anaheim. Possible games that we may send your way Sunday right there on ESPN2.
You know, that's pretty exciting stuff, because we know we're doing a game, but we have no idea where we're going.
We're not until around midnight Saturday for that matter.
I love it.
The wild card still has detractors, but it has dragged out some question marks. Only tonight, the wild card nailed down by the Mets in the National League, and very much headed toward the final weekend here in the American. 0-2 to Scarborough Green, who drove in the first Ranger run back in the 2nd, just his 7th RBI of the season.
Amazing what a strikeout does to a crowd.
Through the glove of McLemore, and Green takes the big turn at first before he holds on. That ball sharply hit, but McLemore there in plenty of time.
I don't think he ever saw this baseball. Only McLemore would drop to a knee on something hit this hard and try to keep it in front of him. Look at him going the other way. What happened there was he saw that it was a split finger fastball coming from Paniagua. He saw the sign that Wilson put down. That's an off-speed pitch. He thought Scarborough Green, if he hit it, would pull it into the hole. He started cheating that way, and when he tried to get back, he didn't know where the baseball was.
Green 2 for 3. 10th base hit by Texas. Back to Catalanado at the top of the order. Tying run at first. All kinds of speed, Scarborough Green. Although, as you pointed out earlier, he has yet to really learn how to harness that speed. Just 4 out of 9 stealing. Now they've changed it to an error on McLemore. Second Mariner error of the night. Henderson made a costly one in left field in the 6th inning. 0-2 to Catalanado. As soon as we're done, Sports Center with John Anderson and Steve Levy. Straight A's. They won this afternoon over Anaheim. The Mets clinched the National League wild card, and the Tribe with a win over Minnesota. Also alive in the American League wild card picture. 1.5 back of the Mariners and the A's are the Indians. Green going. The 0-2 hits Catalanado on the right forearm. He slowly makes his way to first.
Wilson's going to argue that Catalanano threw his elbow into that baseball, and I think Dan Wilson's right. He's normally not going to argue about something that he doesn't believe in. With Piniella coming out to find out what's going on, it's difficult for a manager to see that happening from the view that he has. But where Wilson was, he had a great view of what was going on. And Piniella's doing all that he can do here, trying to get the home plate umpire. Look at that right there. Well, he did pull it back somewhat. He was diving to the outside part of the plate. What Piniella wants is for the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg, to get some help. Look to the second base umpire, Las Diaz, and see what his opinion of it is. Kellogg saying, I don't need to. I saw it clearly. Wilson saying, no, you didn't. Take a look at him there. First angle really showed it clearer that he was diving to the outside part of the plate, and instead of jumping to get back. I mean, that's just a terrific play on Catalanano's part. That's taken one for the team, not only his team, but the team of the Cleveland Indians and the team of the Oakland A's.
And you saw the wealth he's got for his trouble. Another pitching change. With only one out in the 8th, they're going to bring in the closer, Sasaki, to try and preserve a 1-run lead. It is headband night at Safeco Field, and they are all in honor of this man, 32-year-old rookie Kazuhiro Sasaki, an American League rookie record, a club record, 35 saves. If he nails this one down, he ties the Major League rookie saves record 14 years ago, set by Todd Worrell.
I'm having a difficult time considering him a rookie. I think that award should go to someone that is in their early 20s, not in their early 30s.
Someone perhaps who is not already the all-time Japanese League saves leader.
Yeah, this guy to me is a veteran. He's poised. He's having a terrific year, and a big part of the reason that Seattle has a chance to play in early October.
With pennant pressure, you've got an inning and 2/3 still ahead of you to get this save if you're Sasaki. And you start with Royce Clayton with Palmeiro on deck.
Well, why do you go to him now? Because you want to avoid the guy on the on-deck circle, Rafael Palmeiro. Clayton this year leads the Texas Rangers by grounding in to 21 double plays. Lou Piniella's hoping that number will go to 22 with a ground ball here.
And the Rangers lead the majors in grounding into double plays. Strike one to Clayton.
Where did that baseball go is what Royce Clayton is wondering right now. Just a terrific split-fingered fastball from Sasaki. He was once a dominant closer. His numbers indicate that he's dominating once again, but he was even better earlier in his career. The velocity on that fastball better. Now he just simply locates that fastball, but it's that splitter that gets the strikeouts for him.
Laying off that time, 1-1. Clayton 1 for 4, double and a run scored when he greeted Paniagua in the 7th. Now up against Sasaki, second Japanese pitcher signed by the Mariners. 7 years ago, Max Suzuki of the Kansas City Royals was the first, signed a 2-year, $8 million free agent deal, and looks like a bargain. Out of play, 1-2.
Now, General Manager Pat Gillick basically went out and bought his bullpen. Sasaki coming over from Japan. Arthur Rhodes coming over as a free agent from Baltimore. They've been the two big cogs down there in that wheel.
If he does win Rookie of the Year, he could tie the previous oldest winner of that award. Sam Jethro was 32 when he won it in 1950 with the Boston Braves. Even in the high-dollar suites, they've got the Sasaki headbands on. 1-2 down the right field line, but slicing foul. One thing that would worry you if you're Lou Piniella and you get to the postseason is how will Sasaki do away from Safeco Field? His ERA at home is a stellar 1.69. When he goes on the road, it's nearly 5.3.
Numbers are always tough to think about why when you're talking about a closer. They're only going to come in for an inning a night normally. This is just the 5th time all year that Piniella has asked for Sasaki to pitch more than 1 inning. So he's really done a good job protecting his closer, keeping him strong up to this point.
Again back into the screen to stay alive. Clayton. Sports Center with John Anderson and Steve Levy coming up next. We're in the top of the 8th inning in a 5-4 game. Oakland having won to tie the Mariners at 88-69. Sasaki in charge of trying to break back in front by a half game. Seattle's been in first since June 29th. Palmeiro on deck. 0 for 4 tonight. Another 1-2 misses badly. And the count even at 2-2. 2 years ago, Sasaki set the all-time Japanese single season record, 45 saves. He had 5 years over there where the ERA was 2 or lower. 2 years where it was below 1. Pretty much had done all he could do in Japan. Coming into tonight, 4th in the American League with the club record 35 saves. Clayton fouling pitch after pitch off.
Sasaki continuing to pound that fastball in. He knows what happened in Clayton's last at bat when he led off the top of the 7th with a double of Jose Paniagua. He was trying to go to the opposite field. Paniagua gave him a fastball up and away, and he hit it down the line. Sasaki pounding that heater in, trying to get Clayton to expand the zone on that splitter away. But up to this point, Clayton has laid off of it since the first pitch.
This is the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming. I'm going to drag it out a little more. So having already thrown 7 pitches and needing 5 outs out of Sasaki. This appearance really being elongated by Clayton.
Clayton has just been in the right spot all night long for Texas tonight. And when I say Texas, don't forget we're talking about Cleveland and Oakland too. They're pulling for the Rangers. He was there when Jonathan Johnson fielded that sacrifice bunt, what could have been in the 6th inning. Johnson threw it into the dirt. Clayton come up with it nicely. Played well defensively tonight. Scored the run that got them closer. Back in the 7th, within 1 run.
Again, another 2-2, and he lays off. Count is full.
He's really picking up the rotation of that splitter now since he had trouble with the first pitch. If Sasaki's going to get him, it looks like he's going to have to throw something in the strike zone. Either that fastball on the inner half again, or maybe he's got the confidence to throw that splitter for a strike.
He may be 0 for 4 tonight. He is 1 for 1 in his only meeting with Sasaki, and he's a pitch away from batting with the bases loaded. Up and in, and Clayton just gets a piece. This Ranger team got used to playing in the postseason 3 of the last 4 years. This week, they're having to treat like their postseason. Clayton's treating this at bat like Game 7 of the World Series, to his credit.
You got to give manager Johnny Oates some credit for that too. As you said earlier, Dave, this team continuing to play hard even when there's nothing for them as a team to play for. It's always a good sign for a manager that the chemistry and that he is doing his job.
A year ago yesterday, they clinched their 3rd division title in the last 4 years. And everybody in that dugout still up on the rail for Texas. Taking at every pitch, Clayton's patience pays off with a walk to load the bases for Palmeiro.
"11 pitches in that at bat for Royce Clayton. What a job he did to stay alive. Saki made a number of pitches to record the out, or what he thought would have, that have been doing it all year. They did not get it done to Clayton, and the worst possible scenario for manager Lou Piniella just happened.
So more action. Mesa, who has been up for a while, and Ramsey, the left-hander, up for the 2nd time. Palmeiro bats with the bases loaded. How many times can you get it? 3 ground balls, a deep fly to center last time up. And going after the first pitch most of the time tonight. Lays off of this one, ball 1. .290 for the year. Much better against left-handed pitching. 55 points better against lefties. Taking a seat along with everybody else in his dugout.
There's nothing he can do. He's got his best out there. Manager Johnny Oates has his best out there as well. And that's why this game always has been and always will be about players. Managers can make moves, but it's players that win or lose ball games.
Hopped up. Short center field. On comes Cameron. And a bluff at 3rd by Scarborough Green. Good thing he came back. The throw was perfect.
Well, Sasaki's fastball might not be what it once was, but it's good enough to get the out here that he needed. He fell behind Palmeiro. He had to challenge him. He did. Now look at Mike Cameron. They predict a Gold Glove sometime in his future. Well, this is one reason why. Not only does he have terrific range getting the balls, but he knows how to make those throws to home. Strong throw, 1 hop, perfect to Wilson, but the bases are still loaded.
Green still at 3rd. He reached on the air at 2nd by McLemore. Catalanato at 2nd. He was hit by a pitch. Last pitch thrown by Paniagua. Clayton at 1st after a walk. It's up to Chad Curtis.
So much pressure, not only on Sasaki here, but on his catcher, Dan Wilson, as well. He wants to throw that splitter. He wants to throw it down. But if it gets away from Wilson, this ball game is tied.
First pitch to Curtis, foul back. First meeting for Sasaki and Curtis. She had 1 for 3. Scored a run in the 3rd. And drove in his 44th run of the year. Rangers have left 9 on base tonight. 6 have been in scoring position.
Curtis with a hit in his last at bat. Really cut down his swing the 2nd half of the year. He's been hitting right at .330 since the All-Star break.
Left field again tonight for the injured Rusty Greer. Chopper fouled at the plate, and Sasaki is a pitch away from working out of the bases loaded 1-out jam. And he'll have the help of 35,000 on their feet.
I tell you what a job he has done.
The inning started with an error. Got the first guy on. Then Catalano got hit by a pitch. That's the go-ahead run that's on base. Sasaki comes in, battles his heart out, but finally loses Clayton to the base on ball. He gets Palmeiro, and if he gets Curtis now, forget about Rookie of the Year. He might be the Cy Young.
Got it.
Get me one of those headbands.
Big time stuff for Kazuhiro Sasaki. He keeps it 5-4 Seattle. It is still 5-4 Seattle. We move to the bottom of the 8th, and the reason they still lead by 1. Fine work out of the bullpen by Sasaki. Rangers' new catcher after Noor was lifted for the pinch hitter Alicea, B.J. Wasgas.
Well, he got the strikeout on Curtis, which was the final out of the inning, but the big out to me was the 1-0 pitch to Rafael Palmeiro. Palmeiro hit the sac fly, but not deep enough to get the run in. And Seattle maintained their 1-run lead.
1-run games have not been too kind to Seattle this year until lately. They're 15-22 in 1-run games, but they've won their last 6 all in the month of September.
Might have to do with more of Lou Piniella's magic in the month of September, where his teams have never relinquished a lead.
As close as they can come to doing it here. Looking to put another pennant up there in your first full year in Safeco Field. Zimmerman gets a bouncer fair down the left field line by Dan Wilson on the 0-2 pitch. It gets away from Curtis, and Wilson is at second.
Came here tonight looking to see offense from A-Rod, Edgar, and Olerud, but we have seen it instead from David Bell and this guy, Dan Wilson. He's done it defensively, keeping balls in the dirt in front of him, and he has done it offensively as well. A couple of runs scored, and now a double. It's a 1-run ball game, but because of Dan Wilson, it possibly may be more than that.
Al Martin will come out to pinch run for Wilson. And all Dan Wilson did tonight was score 3 runs, get a single, a double, a walk, bunted into a fielder's choice. 3 of the 5 Mariner runs scored by the number 8 hitting catcher. So it's Martin at second as Mark McLemore tries to bunt into third, and it's fouled. McLemore 2 for 2 with a pair of RBIs tonight on a single and a double. In between a successful sacrifice, given a 2-run fourth. Three more outs from the sweat out of the Mariner dugout.
Johnny Oates with everybody in at the corners. He knows from managing Mark McLemore in the early 90s with Baltimore what a good bunter McLemore is. He's already laid down 1 sacrifice bunt, and if you're going to keep him from getting the job done again, you almost have to come in where the third baseman and first baseman are to try to get to it quickly.
Again squaring it again, missing. 0-2. Sports Center next. We will run down all the developments in the pennant races. The Mets clinching the NL wild card. Indians stay at a game and a half out in the AL, and Oakland moving into at this moment a flat-footed 88-69 tie with Seattle. One and 2 to McLemore. That'll bring the insurance run home with nobody out. McLemore to be followed by the top of the order, the right-hander Tim Crabtree, latest to get up in the Texas bullpen. They've used 4 pitchers, beginning with Doug Davis, who went the first 5. Jonathan Johnson hitting in the 3rd. Renfroe faced 1 batter, a single by Olerud in the 7th. Zimmerman on to finish out the 7th. Striking out Buhner and getting Bell to fly to right. But Wilson greets him with the bounce double down the left field line here in the bottom of the 8th. And he put away McLemore with 2 strikes. That one not missing by much. 2-2. These 2 teammates last year. The West champions. Hit pretty well to right, but Leday, a couple of steps in front of the track, has it. Martin going to 3rd, and he will make it easily.
And that's why manager Lou Piniella threw a pinch runner out there for his catcher Dan Wilson. Wilson gave him everything he had tonight. Sure, Piniella would like to have Wilson back there defensively, but he's also got a pretty good defensive catcher in Joe Oliver to throw out there. Had that ball been a little bit shallower than that, Leday had a play on what would have been Wilson at 2nd, but he did not on the speedy Martin.
He was down at 3rd with 1 out, and it's up to pinch hitter Stan Javier now. Charles Gibson was in the on-deck circle after he replaced Ricky Henderson defensively. He's been called back, and the switch hitting Javier will step in. So Piniella going to veterans. 36-year-old Javier, 32-year-old Al Martin. Stan in his 16th year. Consummate pro. Seattle his 8th club, hoping to help what has been a paltry contribution by Mariner pinch hitters this year. And he takes that one just low.
Here with a long look at 3rd base coach Larry Boa. See if Lou Piniella has anything on his mind. It's not Lou Piniella that has a thought, but it's Johnny Oates.
And we're going to put Javier on. So they'll have the double play possibility for Mike Cameron.
With a couple of hits tonight, but the reason Johnny Oates doing this is the fact that he has struck out 130 times this year. And you got to keep somebody on the infield or record a strikeout. The numbers indicate this is the way you go.
And to do it, we will go back to his bullpen where Crabtree has been getting loose. He'll come in with runners on the corners, 1 out, and a 1-run game in the bottom of the 8th. As Tim Crabtree comes on, a very big insurance run in the person of pinch runner Al Martin down at 3rd. Pinch hitter Stan Javier draws the intentional walk, and he's at 1st as Crabtree enters. Fireballing 30-year-old out of Jackson, Michigan, has had a real drop-off in his effectiveness this year. 19-10 career coming into this year with an ERA well under 4, but as you saw, 2-7, and the ERA at 5.31.
High ERA, more hits than innings. That means that nasty 95-mile-an-hour sinker that Crabtree possesses hasn't always been sinking.
And a good night for Cameron. An opportunity here with 1 out of the 8th to make it even better. Misses the 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Single on the 1st, single on the 4th, thrown out trying to stretch it to a double. Sac fly in the 2nd. Some great throws from the outfield. 3 for 9 lifetime in this matchup. And they've finally gotten up on the rail in the Mariner dugout. They've been there for 2 solid innings in the Ranger dugout. 0-2.
Well, there's still twice as many on the Ranger dugout as there are on the Seattle dugout. Look at all those guys up there.
That's the last place team. That's the first place dugout. And you got to remind yourself of that. Ranger bullpen has really sagged this year. Crabtree strikes out Cameron on 3 pitches. The second out here in the 8th.
He did the same thing last year when he took 58 called third strikes. Strike 2 was a very hittable pitch, as was strike 3. What was going through Mike Cameron's mind, only Mike Cameron knows.
Well, that's half the battle for Tim Crabtree. Now it's A-Rod. 0 for 3, a walk and 2 strikeouts. On the homestand, 2 for 22. You figure he breaks out sometime. Will it be here? Not yet. 0-1. Just too good a player to go 2 for 22 at any point, much less down the stretch in the pennant race. But that's where he is. Out of play, 0-2.
As we are watching the AL West, there's a lot of people that haven't made up their minds about the AL MVP this year. And a base hit right here might collect a couple of more votes for A-Rod. I know that Jason Giambi has certainly collected some votes as of late for Oakland. I think Thomas not hurting himself any. Delgado's still hot. A-Rod wants a little bit more time to think about how can I catch up with this fastball. Mike Cameron could not do it. Crabtree just not messing around. I mean, he goes 1-2-3 to Cameron. He's gone 1-2 to A-Rod.
5 pitches, nothing but strikes out of him so far. That one gets away from Waskas. Here comes Martin. He gets the insurance run, 6-4. You can imagine how that pitch was received in Oakland and Cleveland. He's perfect until he throws one that Waskas can't get in front of. Martin scoring easily as Javier makes it down to second.
You got to be wondering, where is Pudge Rodriguez?
Well, you know where he is. He's rehabbing the broken thumb. Wishing he could have been where Waskas was. It is a pass ball. The Ranger staff ERA with Knorr, who started tonight, is under 4.3. With Waskas, it's more than 8. The reason that Oates has gone more frequently with the journeyman Knorr down the stretch.
Well, with a passed ball, it goes as an unearned run, unless A-Rod is able to do something offensively. A wild pitch. It would be an earned run.
2-2. Edgar Martinez hoping he gets a crack here in the 8th. Edgar 0 for 2 with 2 walks. And he set the Mariner all-time club record for games played, 1,536. Looking to tie with Ken Griffey Jr. Javier at second with 2 outs. A-Rod stepping out.
A-Rod really had his way with Texas pitching this year, hitting over 400 coming into tonight's game, but no hits to show as of yet.
And 2. Crabtree out of Michigan State. second team All Big Ten, 4 years with the Spartans. Rangers got him from Toronto for minor league catcher Kevin Brown. An open question whether they re-sign John Wetland, has been their closer the last 4 years. Crabtree, if he's back next year, maybe a candidate. And he gets A-Rod on strikes. Third strikeout for Alex Rodriguez tonight, but the pass ball by Wazgas allows Martin to score the insurance run. They take a 2-run lead into the ninth. Well, Alex Rodriguez, after striking out for the third time tonight, now 2 for 23 on this homestand.
I'd be a little bit frustrated with himself. Once again, he chased a pitch that was out of the zone. A-Rod going through a slump that everybody else in baseball goes through. The big difference right now is that there's a lot more attention on slumps that happen in late September.
The new Seattle catcher is the veteran Joe Oliver. And after pinch hitting, Stan Javier stays in the game in left field. Fourth different left fielder for Pinella tonight. Ricky Leday begins the ninth with a line shot to A-Rod. What a welcome sight for Sasaki, who threw 15 pitches to get the last 2 outs of the eighth. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the ninth.
I don't think Lou Piniella would have been able to bring in Sasaki had he had to use him last night. If the game would have been close and a save opportunity presented itself, Sasaki probably would have been in. But instead, it was 5-0. Aaron Seeley was dealing. He completed the game, got the shutout, and Piniella had the opportunity to bring his closer in a little bit earlier than he has been for the most part this year. Well, how big that turned out to be.
Ruben Sierra is 1 for 3. A single in the second, a walk in the seventh. We'll root Sasaki through these last 2 outs, and then we'll get to Sports Center. Lord wouldn't give him straight 3. Missed by a little bit.
Sasaki trying to do a little fishing out there. You know, you throw that lure in a spot, a fish bites it. You get him in the boat, what are you going to do? Grab that same lure, throw it back in that same spot.
A different spot, still not biting. 2-2. At stake not only sole possession of first, but the individual question for Sasaki. If he gets this save, it's his 36th, and that ties the Major League rookie saves record of 36, held by Todd Worrell. Here's the 2-2 to Sierra. Strike 3, 1 to go.
He wouldn't go fishing. So what does he do? He just expands his zone with that high fastball. One time he threw in the mid-90s. He's in the low 90s, occasional upper 80s. But still tremendous command. Very few base on balls. You know what? There'll be very few gray hairs for Lou Piniella if his closer continues to pitch like this.
Mike Lamb to left field where Javier has it. And the Mariners are back by themselves in first place in the American League West. Tomorrow it'll make 3 months since they were last out of first place.
Everything falling in place for Seattle. Garcia with the win tonight. Just 6 innings. He should be available on Sunday if needed.
Freddie Garcia wins his 9th of the year. Davis falls to 7-6. It is the record-tying 36th save for Kazuhiro Sasaki, as the Mariners win their 2nd straight in this 3-game series, which ends tomorrow 6 to 4. Don't forget, tune into ESPN2 this Sunday for any action that matters on the final day of the regular season. For Rick Sutcliffe and our entire ESPN crew, so long from Seattle. And a reminder to stay tuned for Sports.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.